The night is shattered by a young man's desperate screams. Mother! Mother! He stumbles into a scene of unimaginable horror, a place where something terrible has just happened. But before his grief can even take root, his father's cold voice cuts through the air. He orders everyone to stop this fuss and leave immediately. A chilling command follows. This incident must never be spoken of outside these walls. Then comes the final, soul-crushing blow, a declaration delivered with unnatural calm. From this day forth, the Bakley clan will not seek revenge for this. The young man, Bakley Woon, trembles, his mind reeling in disbelief. He confronts his father, his voice cracking with anguish. Father, you're not even human. How can this man, his own father, refuse to avenge his wife's death? The father remains unmoved, stating it is all for the clan and the greater cause, warning Woon not to act recklessly. That single word, reckless, is the spark that ignites Woon's resolve. In that moment, something inside him breaks, and something else, something harder and colder, is born. He turns his back on the only family he has left, his heart heavy with a new, terrible purpose. I'm leaving, he chokes out. I have no attachment left to the Bakley clan. He knows he is too weak now, but as he runs into the darkness, he makes a vow. He will grow stronger, strong enough that no one can ever look down on him again. He will build his own power, found his own sect, and one by one, he will hunt down everyone involved in his mother's death. His vow echoes into the future. I'll make them pay. The scene dissolves and reforms, the world spinning forward. 12 years later, Bakley Woon, now a grown man with cold, experienced eyes, stands over a cowering figure. The man babbles, I was wrong, desperately offering Woon anything he could possibly desire. Just say it and I'll grant it. A slow, thoughtful look crosses Woon's face. He almost seems to be considering it. Well, he muses, there is something I want. The man's eyes widen with a pathetic flicker of hope. That's right. What is it you desire? Woon's face splits into a wide, terrifying grin, a smile that doesn't touch his eyes as he delivers the sentence. Your life. The man's blood runs cold. Hey, that's not funny, he stammers. Woon's smile vanishes, replaced by bored impatience. Fine then, if you won't give it willingly, I'll just take it myself. The man explodes into a final, desperate rage. You bastard. I'll tear you apart. Woon merely sighs. Your mouth's just as filthy as your face suggests. Before the man can even finish his threat, there's a flash of light, a whisper of steel, and then silence. The end of one more name on his list. The scene shifts. Woon, now addressed as captain, calmly wipes his blade. A young woman, Moyong Hyen, approaches him with a shy, respectful smile, bringing him a delivery. He thanked her warmly, his voice gentle, a complete opposite of the cold killer from moments ago. She notices the blood on his face and politely suggests he wipe it off. Woon looks down at the wrapped package, the object of his revenge, and contemplates. So, this is the end, he says softly, then a small smile plays on his lips, or maybe the beginning. He hands the grim package to Hyen. Deliver that to the Murim Alliance. As he turns and walks away, she calls out, Are you heading back to your hometown now? He waves a hand over his shoulder, a lightness in his voice she's never heard before. I am retiring. He has done it. He has achieved everything he set out to do within the Alliance. His 12-year quest for power and position is finally over. Now, his real journey can start. As Woon travels, he reflects on the long, hard journey. He left his clan, forged his own martial arts, and climbed all the way to the rank of captain in the Murim Alliance. 12 long years. But it was all worth it. At last, the time has come to create my own sect. He saved his money diligently, and, as if by fate, the perfect property just became available. Everything is falling into place. He bursts into joyful, slightly unhinged laughter. The heavens themselves are helping me. Wahaha! His sudden outburst in the carriage makes the driver jump, the poor man wondering if he'd picked up a crazy passenger. Woon quickly apologizes, explaining he's on his way to purchase a manor to found his own sect. The driver's face pales. He knows of only one manor for sale in the area. Don't tell me, he mutters under his breath. Is it that haunted one? He quickly wishes Woon well, a little too quickly. Woon, however, is floating on a cloud of optimism. All that's left is signing the contract. What could possibly go wrong? Ha ha! Woon's laughter dies in his throat. He stands before his perfect property, and his eye twitches. Huh, this is the place. It's a disaster. The buildings are crumbling, the courtyard is overgrown, and everything is covered in a thick layer of filth and decay. He grabs the seller, a shifty man named Yang, by the collar. Are you seriously trying to scam me? Yang sweats, frantically insisting that this place was really hard to get, and quickly starting a tour to distract him. He points out the 45 rooms and the 5 training halls. Woon, now identified by the seller as the famous Captain Bakley Woon, is not impressed. He cuts to the chase. What's the issue with this place? Yang tries to downplay it. Well, nothing major, he says, then adds, except for the fact that every previous owner died. He explains they all died of sudden heart failure on the very night they bought the manor. The place is, in short, haunted. Woon's fury returns. And you trying to sell that to me? Yang plays his final card. Tish, that's why I'm offering it for 1/4 the market price. Woon's anger instantly vanishes, replaced by a wide, greedy grin. You should have said that earlier. He claps the man on the back, suddenly his best friend. He snatches the deed. As his fingers touch the document, a strange message flashes in his mind. Receive the deed. He pauses, confused, but quickly shakes it off. Yang makes a hasty exit, calling back, if you're still alive after one night, come find me. Woon is finally alone in his new home. And despite the cobwebs and the curse, he is ecstatic. Woola! Finally, my very own manor. He's practically glowing with happiness. Now all that's left is to recruit disciples. But first, a little housekeeping. He rolls up his sleeves and begins the massive task of cleaning. Hours later, he's wiping sweat from his brow, having cleaned most of the property. All that's left is the main hall now. While dusting in the main hall, his hand brushes against a loose floorboard. What's that? He pulls it up and finds a strange, intricate box. Did the previous owner leave this behind? Lucky me, he grins, thinking, this could fetch a decent price. But the moment he touches it, his vision whites out. Where am I? A cold, mechanical voice fills his head. Evaluatee, martial artist. Objective, Sect establishment. It gives him a grade, 2nd grade, noting he is the highest grade so far. Then, a new, ominous message, adjusting test difficulty. A dark, iron orb materializes in the air. Woon's blood runs cold. He finally understands. So that's what killed all those previous owners. This was what happened, huh? The voice announces, test commencing. Difficulty, extreme. This is a test of martial prowess. Woon's fear vanishes, replaced by the familiar fire of a warrior. Fine, I'll take it head on. He draws his sword, a defiant grin on his face. Come at me. I'll show you why I was a captain of the Murim Alliance. A mechanical guardian across the hall immediately fires a projectile. Woon blocks, but the force is incredible, sending him skidding back with a pained ag-dash. He lands near the wall, and the machine stops. He pants, realizing, so this is outside of its range. He glances at his sword. It's nearly shattered. Just as despair sets in, the machine activates again, but this time it tosses him a new sword. Oh, he gasps, so there's some flexibility in the rules, huh? His strategic mind takes over. If it won't attack him back here, it must be protecting something at the opposite end. He readies himself, but the machine anticipates his move. Dozens of panels open, revealing a full arsenal. A split second later, a hellish barrage of steel orbs fires at him from all angles. Woon becomes a whirlwind of steel, deflecting and dodging, sparks flying everywhere. But the volley is too much. One orb clips his arm. Sorry, enough is enough. He channels all his power, his body glowing with a brilliant blue aura. He unleashes his ultimate technique. Flowing Moonstride, Phantom Field, Crescent Slash. A massive wave of pure energy erupts from his blade, crashing into the machine and blowing it to pieces. The dust settles. Woon stands, breathing hard, his sword broken. The test is over, but he notices there are still unused steel orbs left. The system, it seems, was serious about extreme. Just then, the voice returns. The test has concluded. It's over. As Woon asks the question, a miracle happens. The entire manor begins to glow. The rotten wood turns new, the filth vanishes, and the broken structures repair themselves before his very eyes. Did a manor change? It looks new again. The voice confirms, you have passed the trial. All manor functions will now unlock to their highest grade. The sword he used for the test, now repaired and glowing, floats toward him. It's giving the sword to me. He snatches it. After all that, it's the least it could do. The system has one final request. The trial will conclude once you name the manor. Woon looks around at his new, perfect home, a proud, heartfelt smile on his face. The name's already been decided. He raises his new sword to the heavens and declares, "The heavens that must be righteous. Righteous heavens. I shall name this sect the Righteous Heavens Sect." The system registers the name, and Woon, now a true sect leader, calls out to the empty hall, "Whatever ghost or spirit lives here, come out and reveal yourself." In response, a glowing panel of light appears before him, displaying a single, thrilling message, initializing the sect system. The next morning, a furious Bakley Woon storms into the village, his face a mask of thunder. He quickly spots the shifty seller, Yiri, and wastes no time, grabbing the man by the front of his robes. "Hey, Yiri," he growls. "You didn't tell me something like this would show up." Woon gestures angrily at the empty air right next to him, where a glowing, transparent blue panel hovers, an interface only he can see. This thing has been following him since last night. Yiri, however, sees nothing. He stares in blank confusion. "Huh? What the hell is this thing?" Before nervously suggesting that Woon must have hit his head. But the invisible window is only half of Woon's problem. The gossip about the haunted manor has spread faster than the wind, and now that reputation is attached to him. He's already an outcast. He mutters to himself, "Why do rumors spread so fast here?" as the villagers whisper and point from a distance. His attempt to buy supplies was a disaster. The moment he mentioned his sect, the shop owner turned pale. "I said it's not for sale," the man had shouted. "I just said no. Get lost." The shopkeeper had even thrown him out, calling him an unlucky bastard and blaming him for bringing a haunted reputation to his doorstep. Woon grits his teeth, trying to force himself to calm down, knowing his first impression as a sect leader is being destroyed before it even begins. Just as Woon is about to lose his temper, a cry cuts through the street. "No, you promised to save my sister." Woon's head snaps toward the sound. He sees a small boy, Seo Woo, clinging desperately to the leg of a thuggish-looking man. The man, annoyed, shakes the boy off. "You little brat." The boy, his face streaked with tears, points at the man. "Sir, these men deceived me." He explains they promised to cure his sister's illness, but just stole his money. The thugs, members of the White Sword Sect, sneer at the boy. "Your sister's hopeless. Even the doctors gave up on her." A nearby man, a local fabric shop owner, tries to intervene, scolding the men for bullying a child. The thugs just look annoyed, with the senior member ordering his junior to handle it quietly. The junior thug cracks his knuckles. "You should have gone quietly." "Hey." Woon's voice, low and cold, cuts in. The thug turns. "Who are you?" Woon sighs. "My name doesn't carry much weight these days." He plants his feet firmly, stepping between the thugs and the boy. "I'm the sect leader of the Righteous Heavens Sect." Bakley Woon. The senior thug scoffs. How dare some unknown sect leader interfere with the White Sword Sect's affairs? The thug lunges, his fist flying. Woon doesn't even move his feet. With a graceful, almost lazy, turn of his wrist, he redirects the punch, sending the man stumbling back, his arms screaming in pain. "It's never wise to judge someone by the fame of their sect," Woon says, his voice dangerously calm, "especially when you don't even know your opponent's strength." The other thug, seeing his senior brother so easily handled, tries to bluster. "You bastard. Do you mean to make the White Sword Sect your enemy?" Woon's response is a single, chilling word. "I don't care." In that instant, the thug's bravado evaporates, replaced by dawning horror as he connects the dots. The overwhelming power of the rumors. People said the former captain of the Murim Alliance bought a haunted manor. "Don't tell me, was that you?" Woon just sighs, his annoyance returning full force. "I'm already in a bad mood," he says, thinking of his failed attempt to get uniforms made. "So stop running your mouth, and come at me directly. Bring it on." The senior thug, his pride shattered, calls it an official challenge and attacks again. What follows is not a fight, it's a lesson. Woon effortlessly blocks, parries, and dodges every frantic attack. "GUH," the thug groans as Woon lightly taps his sword, the ringing sound of final insult. "If it's a fight you want," Woon says, his aura flaring, You can come to the righteous heavens sect anytime. He tells them to leave quietly, and the thugs scramble away, vowing revenge. Woon's attention returns to the small boy, Seo-woo, who is staring at him with wide, awestruck eyes. The boy, having overheard Woon's complaint, suddenly blurts out, "Sir, you were looking for someone to make uniforms, right? My sister's really skilled at sewing." Woon is taken aback by this. "Huh, oh really?" But the boy's hopefulness vanishes, replaced by raw desperation. He drops to his knees, pressing his forehead to the dirty street. "Sir, actually, please save my sister." Woon is flustered. No, that's something a physician should. But just as he says it, the invisible Sect system window pings. New trade opportunity detected. Target is a 3rd grade. Woon's eyes narrow. 3rd grade. That's pretty high. This is serious. Tell me more. Seo-woo quickly explains their story. Their parents passed away last year, and his sister, Seo-woo, supported them with her sewing. But recently, she contracted a terrible illness that made her hands and feet freeze over. The fabric shop owner, who has been listening, confirms he's been worried after losing contact with her. Seo-woo quickly leads them away, down a narrow alley to a crumbling shack. The shack is dark, and the air is heavy with sickness. "Sister," Seo-woo cries, running in. "I brought the warrior who catches ghosts." Woon winces at the new title. In the dim light, he sees a young woman, Seo-woo, huddled over a small, crackling fire. But what he sees makes his blood run cold. She is not warming her hands by the fire. Her pale, frost-covered hands and feet are inside the flames, and they are not burning. Woon is stunned. This is worse than I expected. He can see the fire's heat and the intense cold in her limbs clashing violently. He suspects it's a side effect of energy cultivation. He asks her if the heat hurts. "No," she whispers, "if I don't do this, I'll get frostbite." Woon knows this is no normal sickness. "May I check your pulse?" As his fingers touch her wrist, the system confirms his darkest suspicion. Excessive energy has invaded the subject body. He understands everything. "You have an extreme body." He explains that it's a rare condition that draws an energy, a legendary constitution for a martial artist, like the famed Sword Empress. For a martial artist, it's a blessed constitution. He pauses, his voice heavy. "But in your case, you've absorbed too much. Your yang energy is running dry." He delivers the grim prognosis. "If this continues, you'll die within 3 months." The silence in the room is shattered by Seo-woo's cry. "That's a lie. You're just like the others." But Seo-woo is calm. She had already sensed it. As despair sets in, Woon's Sect system window flares in his mind. The key is yang energy. A new item flashes, essence water. You will obtain it upon quest completion. And what is the quest? Recruit your first disciple. Reward, 50 essence water. Woon's mind races. Seo-woo's treatment. Plus disciple recruitment, it's 2 birds with 1 stone. He looks at Seo-woo with new resolve. "I'm not 100% sure, but I think I've found a way to help." He leans in, his eyes serious. "Seo-woo, become my disciple." She is stunned. "Disciple? What are you talking about?" She's never learned martial arts. More than that, she hates the Murim. She bitterly recalls how selfish martial artists, claiming to uphold righteousness, were the ones whose conflicts got her parents killed. She fears he's just the same, pretending to help only to abandon me later. But as she's lost in her dark memories, she notices Woon's hand, the one that had touched her wrist. It's now covered in a painful-looking layer of frostbite from the brief contact with her energy. He doesn't flinch, his gaze steady. "This much is nothing. If it means I can cure you." That simple, painful, real act of sacrifice shatters her cynicism. Maybe this man really is different. Taking a shaky breath, she nods. "I'll be counting on you." Instantly, the system chimes in Woon's head. Quest complete. Woon now has his reward, 50 essence water. He immediately activates the system's ability, using essence water to initiate recovery effect minor. A warm, golden light flows from Woon and into Seo-woo. The system confirms it's working. Sect members' yang energy is being restored. Seo-woo gasps, her eyes wide with disbelief. "My hands are getting warm." Before their very eyes, the frostbite melts away, the dead, pale skin regaining its color and life. "I can feel the yang energy flowing again." Seo-woo cries out her name and throws his arms around her, weeping with joy. The fabric shop owner is speechless. Did you heal her with energy arts? Woon, grinning, just nods. Something like that. The owner breaks into a loud, booming laugh. Ahaha, that was quite a spectacle. I like you, young man. Now I understand why the Murim Alliance leader values you so much. That Woon is startled when the man mentions the Murim Alliance leader, revealing he knows him. The man claps his hands together. Oh dear. I forgot to introduce myself properly. He bows politely. My name is Cheon Gamyeong. Or perhaps it's easier to call me the Yellow Dragon Hall Master. In the cold, imposing main hall of the White Sword Sect, the air was thick with fear. Two bruised and terrified thugs knelt on the hard floor, their heads pressed down, not daring to look at the man who sat above them. Their leader, So Yo-Wang, a man with a calm, almost pleasant face, looked down at them with eyes that held no warmth at all. You were humiliated by some new sect. His voice was soft, but it echoed in the silent hall like a hammer striking stone. I am sorry, sect leader, one of the men stammered, his body trembling. So Yo-Wang tilted his head, a small, polite smile touching his lips. Does it hurt? He asked. The question was a trap, and the thug knew it. This is nothing compared to the humiliation I will face, he whispered, his voice cracking. The sect leader's smile remained, but his patience had run out. Take them all to the punishment chamber. Panic erupted. No, sect leader, please forgive us just this once. Their desperate pleas were ignored as guards grabbed them, dragging them away to a fate they clearly feared more than death. So Yo-Wang watched them go, his expression unchanged. He mused on the name of the man responsible. The Righteous Heaven's Sect, Bakley Woon. A slow, cruel smile finally spread across his face, this one genuine. I better host a huge welcoming party for him, he said to the empty room. I'm dying to see what kind of person he is. Back at the tiny, crumbling shack, Bakley Woon was frozen in shock. The friendly, unassuming fabric shop owner had just introduced himself as Cheon Gamyeong, the Yellow Dragon Hall Master. Woon's mind, which had been in a state of constant annoyance, was now reeling. He knew the man was no ordinary person, but this was beyond anything he could have imagined. The Yellow Dragon Hall wasn't just a shop. It was a giant merchant guild that provides the palace with clothes and silk. His private sect system even confirmed it, flashing a warning. The opponent's rank is first grade. Woon knew this guild had countless martial masters. Their power was so vast that even the greatest sects were wary of them. This man's words could influence both the Murim Alliance and the unorthodox Murim. And this legendary figure, this titan of the merchant world, was making him an offer. What do you think about joining the Yellow Dragon Hall? He promised to support Woon in whatever you want to do. It was a golden ticket, a really good opportunity that could give him limitless resources and power. But as Woon looked at the man, he knew in his heart, it's not the future I want. He took a deep breath, bowed respectfully, and gave his answer. I really appreciate the offer, but I have to turn you down. I just took on my first disciple. Cheon Gamyeong's smile vanished. The temperature in the tiny room seemed to drop by 20 degrees. You dare to decline my offer? The friendly shop owner was gone, replaced entirely by the Yellow Dragon Hall Master. A crushing, powerful aura pressed down on Woon, making the air thick and hard to breathe. I show you friendliness and you pay me back with arrogance, Gamyeong said, his voice a low growl. But Bakley Woon, former captain of the Murim Alliance, did not bend. Yes, he confirmed, his own gaze sharp and unwavering. Instead, give me a chance to do business with you. He then made a declaration so bold, so utterly insane, that it stunned the powerful merchant. 10 years, Woon announced, his voice ringing with absolute confidence. Within that time, I'll create a sect that is on equal ground with the Orthodox Murim's 10 sects and the unorthodox Murim's 7 clans. Ridiculous, Gamyeong scoffed, pointing out that Woon hadn't even held an establishment ceremony. Yes, Woon replied, unflinching. The tension was so thick it could be cut with a knife. Suddenly, Cheon Gamyeong burst into a deep, booming laugh that shook the tiny shack. Kuahat, you are good at coming up with absurd statements. His eyes, however, were now sharp and calculating. The fame I promised isn't for you, he stated. He leaned in, his gaze fixed on Siwa. Please introduce me to your disciple. I wish to negotiate with the Yellow Dragon Hall's future. A slow grin spread across Woon's face. All right, I'll send my disciple to your sect. He agreed, but Cheon Gamyeong added his own condition, his own arrogant warning. However, if your sect ever disappoints me, you will have to take responsibility. The deal was struck. Impressed, Gamyeong called to his men outside. Bring in the silk. A moment later, Siwa and Siowa's jaws dropped. Men in the uniform of the Yellow Dragon Hall filed in, carrying bolt after bolt of the most beautiful, high-quality silk they had ever seen, filling the tiny shack with vibrant color. Gamyeong called it contract fees and a gift for the day's entertainment, and Woon graciously accepted. As the merchant guild departed, Woon's sharp senses detected the presence of hidden bodyguards melting away from the shadows, noting with a smirk that they had been so close. He watched the carriage go. Cheon Gamyeong thinks and laughs about Woon offering me fame. His arrogance is just the same as someone he knows. Miles down the road, inside his plush carriage, Cheon Gamyeong gave his next order. I want to see an old buddy of mine. Take me to the Evil Path Alliance. I need to have a drink with the Evil Path Alliance leader. His power and connections truly knew no bounds. Back at the Righteous Heavens Sect manor, now miraculously clean and new thanks to the system, Siwa twirled in the courtyard, her spirits completely restored. She was modeling her new uniform, which one had officially named the Righteous Heavens robe. Crafted by Siwa herself from the gifted silk, it was a beautiful design that the system noted had increased her dignity and charm. I love it, she beamed, marveling at how comfortable the fabric was. As one admired his new disciple's handiwork, the Sect system pinged in his mind. The clothing piece has been expertly crafted. A reward menu popped up. Please pick a reward. The options were in, or. Woon's eyes widened. Oh, these are great options. While the first two were valuable, his gut screamed for the third option. He selected it, and a new window opened, displaying Siwa. It listed her traits, diligence, adversity, and responsibility. Woon spotted a locked slot, but was immediately met with a message. She didn't have enough internal energy to open new traits and needs to increase their grade. What? That's not fair, he grumbled, but his frustration quickly turned into a smirk. Oh well, I'll make her stronger and open this trait up. Let's start training, Woon announced, clapping his hands together. Siwa, who had been happily spinning in her new robe, froze. The reality of her decision suddenly hit her like a bucket of ice water. I really am going to learn martial arts. A wave of anxiety washed over her. Will I be able to do well? But what if I mess up? She looked at Woon, the man who had saved her life, and her fear was replaced by a sudden, fierce determination. Yeah, I'll trust him and worry about this later. Okay. She turned to him, her eyes bright with anticipation. What will I be learning? Woon struck a dramatic, serious pose, his face the picture of a wise master. Horse stance. Sia's excitement instantly deflated. Huh, I thought I was going to learn something proper. Woon explained that because she was not fit, they had to focus on improving your stamina. Then for how long? She asked, dreading the answer. An hour. Her jaw dropped. As she wobbled into the stance, she asked again, will I be really able to learn martial arts? Woon smiled, his gaze intense. Of course. You were born with a very high affinity for Yin energy. Internally, he marveled at her an absolute Yin physique. She was a prodigy who naturally built internal energy without even trying. I can't lose her, he thought, a fond smile on his face. Just then, the system flashed a private message in his mind. User's creepiness level has increased. What? He muttered, his good mood instantly soured. Before he could process the system's strange insult, a frantic voice shattered the peace of the courtyard. Hey, Bakley Woon. The shifty merchant Yuryang came running in, waving a piece of paper. The White Sword Sect has sent you a letter. Woon's smile vanished, replaced by a dark scowl. The White Sword Sect. He snatched the letter. Those bastards. Yuryang, catching his breath, quickly explained that the White Sword Sect was holding a duel competition and had invited them to attend. He quickly warned Woon that this sect has dominion over this region, and their leader is infamous, with rumors that he likes to bully weaker sects at these duel competitions. Yuryang was confused why they'd be invited at all, since Woon's sect was just a completely new one that no one's ever heard of. Woon just read the invitation, and a slow, dangerous smile spread across his face. I'm sure he's just trying to embarrass us. This is going to be fun. He slammed his fist into his palm, an idea forming. All right, this is our chance to spread our name. Siwa, still trembling in her horse stance, looked up in terror. Will we be all right? It's just the two of us. Won't I be a burden? Woon turned and looked at her, his grin widening to a terrifying degree. What are you talking about? You're attending the competition alone, Siwa. Siwa's mind went completely blank. The words echoed in her head. Alone. Alone. A second later, her shriek echoed across the manor. Ah! Alone! The days leading up to the duel were a trial of agonizing repetition for Siwa. She collapsed onto the dusty training ground, her breath coming in ragged gasps. Hua. She knew her stamina is low, but this was absurd. Doubt, a creeping and persistent vine, was wrapping around her heart. Don't you think I'm just doing the horse stance too much? She muttered to herself, her legs aching with a deep, punishing burn. For weeks, this was her entire life, holding the stance for hours, punctuated by a measly hour a day of swinging a sword. And even that was just a basic swing that even kids could do. The calendar was mocking her. There's only 2 weeks left. The thought was a rising panic until my duel. Just what is he thinking? She wondered, her frustration boiling over. Was he trying to humiliate her? With a sudden burst of indignant energy, she jumped to her feet. I'm going to pick a fight. She stormed toward her sect leader's quarters, only to find him hunched over a pile of fabric, talking to himself again. He was sewing. Ow! He yelped, pricking his finger. This is harder than I expected. The invisible system, which only he could see, took the chance to mock him. You've received a bleeding wound for the 23rd time. Shut up, Woon hissed at the air. He knew this confrontation was coming. She's probably starting to question the horse stance training now, he thought, working faster. He had to finish these training robes before her faith in him shattered completely. Just as he was focused on his shoddy stitch work, the system pinged. Siwa's trait, responsibility, is about to bloom. Woon paused, a small smile touching his lips. All of a sudden, her determination, her willingness to take responsibility and confront him, was itself a form of growth. The scene dissolved and reformed, the 2 weeks vanishing in an instant. The day of the duel hosted by the White Sword Sect had arrived. The sect's grounds were overflowing with martial artists, banners snapping in the wind. The air was thick with nervous energy. In the crowd, 2 White Sword disciples whispered to each other. Why is the sect leader hosting this? One asked, wondering why they didn't just have a duel in private with the Righteous Heavens sect. The senior disciple scoffed. Rumors that our lads have been beat up have spread, he explained. This wasn't a friendly competition, it was a public execution. The sect leader intends to use them to set an example, to send a brutal message about what happens to those who stand against the White Sword sect. Into this tense, hostile atmosphere walked Siwa, looking small but resolute in her new robes. She approached the registration table. Do I sign up here? The attendant looked up, fumbled his brush, and stared. Ah, yes. Here. His mind went blank. She's so cute, he thought. Does this sect pick people who are hot? He didn't see her flashback to the moment Woon presented the robes. Do you like it? Woon had asked, and though the stitching is a bit messy, she had lit up with genuine joy. I really love it. Her thoughts were cut short as a loud voice boomed across the plaza. Let us begin the White Sword Duel event. An announcer gave a grand speech about friendship and supporting the young martial artists. He then announced a small gift for the winner. A subordinate brought out a silk-lined box, and a collective gasp went through the crowd. That's the lesser blue pill. The murmur was immediate. This was one of the elixir pills created by the Wudong, a treasure that solidifies chi flow and assists the refinement of the chi core. This was a prize of immense value. The winner will receive this lesser blue pill. The plaza erupted in cheers. High above, in a private viewing area, sect leader So Yo-Wang smirked. Those fools, he thought, his eyes cold. He would ensure that they will never stand up to the White Sword sect again. So Yo-Wang gave the signal. Show them the overwhelming difference in power. A roar of yes came from his disciples. The preliminary round began. Siwa stood at the edge of the dueling platform, her legs trembling. She looked back at Woon, her eyes wide with terror. Sect leader, can I really do it? Woon met her gaze, his own perfectly calm. Think back to your training until now. Her heart sank. All I did was do the horse stance, though. Woon, seeing the panic on her face, softened his voice. Then believe in me, the one who trained you. He leaned in, his voice filled with an unshakable confidence that baffled her. I guarantee that you become much tougher than before. Really? It sounded impossible. I don't know if I believe it, she whispered, but I'll try my best. The match was called. Let us begin. Siwa stepped forward, her voice small. I'm Siwa, of the Righteous Heavens sect. Her opponent, Chong Sam from the Blue Moon sect, looked her over with a condescending sneer. Looking at you. You look like you haven't even swung a sword much. Siwa, incapable of lying, nodded. You're right. I've been learning for 1 month. Chong-sam laughed out loud. Huh. To come to this event, you've lost your mind. I'll teach you a lesson. The referee yelled, Begin. Chong-sam lunged, his mind screaming. Use as much strength as I can to attack. There was a single, dull thwack. And then silence. Chong-sam was flat on his back, unconscious. Siwa stood over him, her sword still held in the basic swing position, her eyes as wide as saucers. The crowd was stunned. No way. The match was decided instantly. From the sidelines, Woon smiled. That's why I said to believe in yourself. The referee, shaking himself from his shock, finally raised his hand. The victor is Siwa of the righteous Heaven's Sect. As Siwa stood frozen in disbelief, Woon reflected on his true training plan. Over the past 2 weeks, the horse stance had built her foundation, but the real lesson was mental. He had taught her the mindset that a martial artist should have. Giving an attack your all is no easy task. Most novices fear giving it their all, worrying that their opponent will be hurt. They hesitate. They pull back. But Woon had trained Siwa to commit, to trust her single, basic swing. It means Siwa is actually able to use her full power unlike these other opponents. Her days finally broke, and a massive, beaming smile lit up her face. She ran back to Woon. Sect leader, I won. Woon nodded, unsurprised. Well, she'll easily make it to the main round. His part was done, so I should see if anyone catches my eye. His gaze drifted to another platform, just as Jin Guang of the White Sword Sect was announced. This match was different. Jin Guang was a brute. His opponent went down with a final irk. I lost. But Jin Guang didn't stop, raising his sword for another blow. Wait! Stop! The referee had to physically intervene, shouting, the match has already been decided. Jin Guang walked off with an annoyed. Woon's eyes narrowed. Look at this guy. He was just playing stupid games, intentionally cruel when the difference in skill is clear. A nasty. Later, after Siwa had won all her preliminary matches, she ran back. Sect leader, I made it to the main round. I won easily when I gave him my all like you said. As Woon was praising her, a foul sensation washed over him. Ugh, what is this gross, killing intent? His head snapped up, his senses locking onto a disciple with dead, cold eyes. It seems to be coming from that person. What about that person? Siwa asked, sensing the change in his mood. You'll probably fight him in the main round, Woon said, his voice grim. Before he could say more, a chillingly polite voice spoke from behind them. Congratulations on making it to the main round. It was So Yo-Wang, the White Sword Sect leader, his eyes smiling, but his aura radiating pure ice. So Yo-Wang gave a shallow, mocking bow. I apologize for our disciple's rudeness from before. Woon, completely unfazed by the man's killing intent, gave a polite smile and fired back. Ah, I didn't mind, but you definitely need to work on disciplining your disciples. So's smile tightened, a vein pulsing in his temple. He looked at Siwa, but a girl making it to the main round. How impressive. He then delivered his veiled threat. It's a shame your next opponent is Wu Jiam. I guess your run will end here. He then made a false, condescending offer. But you have talent, so feel free to join the White Sword Sect anytime. Woon's smile never wavered. Thank you for thinking so highly of her. As he turned to leave, he threw one last, casual insult over his shoulder. The disciples of the White Sword Sect weren't so bad either. So froze. Weren't so bad. The polite facade shattered. He snapped Wang Pao. Yes. Sect leader. Guide them to their quarters. As Woon and Siwa walked off, So added a final, venomous promise. Then, I hope you enjoy the rest of the event as well. If you're able to, that is. A moment later, a massive, muscular disciple appeared. I'm Wang Pao, a first sword disciple, in charge of guiding you. As the man spoke, Woon's internal system was already scanning him. Name, Wang Pao. Skeletal and muscular structure is very excellent. Learns martial arts quickly due to his excellent talent. Woon's eyes lit up with a greedy spark. This man was a prodigy. Speaking of you, Woon said, walking right up to Wang Pao and, to the man's shock, brazenly feeling his muscles. You're quite tall, and you have quite the build. The burly disciple turned beet red. Ah, thank you. He nervously led them to their quarters and made a hasty exit. The moment the door shut, Siwa turned to Woon, her mind still on the tournament. More importantly, Sect leader, about my next opponent. But Woon wasn't listening. He had a wide, scheming grin on his face. What do you think, Siwa? He pointed toward the door. That Wang Pao guy. What do you think of him being your new fellow disciple? Siwa, who was expecting a battle plan, was completely blindsided. All of a sudden, what? The cold, pre-dawn light of the dueling grounds does nothing to warm the chill in Wang Pao's soul. He is trapped in a memory, a nightmare that plays on a loop. He sees himself as a boy, full of hope, his large frame earning a rare, approving glance from the White Sword Sect leader. You're taller than kids your age, and your muscles are quite nice, the leader had said, a flicker of what seemed like kindness in his eyes. You seem to have talent, so join our sect. Wang Pao's younger self had beamed, his heart swelling with pride as he accepted. Yes. Thank you, sect leader. But the dream sours, as it always does. The scene shifts to a training duel, a friendly match. His opponent is Jin Guang, a boy 3 years older in skill, though not in age. Wang Pao is defeated, his larger body crashing to the dust. The sect leader, the man who promised him a future, looks down with nothing but cold disappointment. I judged wrong, he declares, his voice cutting deeper than any blade. To think he'd be so weak on the inside. The sentence is passed, a life condemned in a single breath. Keep cleaning up after your fellow disciples forever. Wang Pao jolts awake in his quarters, the word, a dream, a dry whisper on his lips. But the nightmare isn't over. A figure stands in the darkness of his room. Are you awake? His blood turns to ice. It's Jin Guang, the man from his nightmare, now his senior, has come to warm up before his semi-final match. Wang Pao, terrified, shrinks back, stammering, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well. Jin Guang just scoffs. Why does that matter? He shoves the larger man, his voice dripping with years of practiced contempt. Your only use is that body of yours. The least you could do is help at times like these. Defeated, just as he was in a dream, Wang Pao can only whisper, all right, and follow his tormentor out into the morning gloom, a living punching bag, as the crowds gather for the semifinals. As the semifinals are about to begin, Bakley Woon gives his final instructions to Siwa. He is calm, his confidence a tangible force. Woogium, your opponent, uses the illusion sword. He explains the nature of the style, that it's full of variations and is hard to tell where he'll strike, but he also points out its critical weakness. It has many exposed flaws if it's not performed precisely. He quizzes his student, so what do you think you need to do? Siwa, still new to this world, offers a simple, hesitant guess. Try my best not to get tricked. A small smile touches Woon's lips. That's true, he concedes, but there's an easier method you could pick. He leans in, his voice dropping to a whisper, sharing a secret, a single, simple plan that makes Siwa's eyes widen in what? His belief in this plan is absolute. With this, you can beat Wu Jiam for sure. Her own fear, which had been a cold knot in her stomach, melts away, replaced by his unwavering certainty. Okay, as they walk toward the platform, the merchant Yiriang rushes up, his face a picture of disbelief. I didn't think you'd make such progress with her in 1 month. Congratulations. Woon, however, waves off the praise with pure arrogance. Congratulations? I'll accept it after she wins the finals tomorrow. Yiriang is floored. What? Are you serious? Luck only takes you so far, he warns. Everyone here is anticipating your defeat. The merchant's doubt strikes a nerve. Siwa, who just weeks ago was a timid girl, snaps back, her voice ringing with newfound conviction. You're wrong. My sect leader told me that he believed in my victory. You're crazy. Just like your sect leader. But his words are lost as the referee's voice booms. Begin. Fueled by Woon's plan and her own defiant spirit, Siwa lets out a war cry and charges. I'm winning this duel. The sharp clang of steel echoes as their blades meet. Wu Jiam, a disciple of the White Sword Sect, is no amateur. His fundamentals are on a different level. With a series of blinding, illusory feints, he immediately puts her on the defensive, forcing her to stumble back. Panic flares, but Woon's training cuts through it. A single thought, her new mantra, centers her. If I can't tell apart feints and real attacks, I need to maintain guard at the center. That as Wu Jiam unleashes a powerful, true thrust, she's ready. She brings her sword up, bracing for impact. The force of the blow is immense, sending a painful jolt up her arms and knocking her backward with a curg. But she held her ground. Her opponent is visibly surprised. "Oh, you blocked it," he says, a note of respect in his voice. "I guess I underestimated you." He gets serious, his blade becoming a blur of motion. "How about this?" The flurry of attacks is dazzling, designed to confuse and overwhelm. But as Siwa dodges, Woon's secret instruction plays back in her mind. Guys who use illusion sword styles are typically weaker at very close range. He'll try to create some distance. If you can reach your opponent with your sword, you'll win. This is it. This is her chance. Instead of retreating, she lunges forward, pushing into the center of the storm. Not bad. Wu Jiam grunts, forced to parry. But he is still the more experienced fighter. He spots his opening. "Your movements are too obvious," he shouts, deftly sidestepping her attack and landing a vicious, solid blow to her side. "I win," he declares, as Siwa crumples to the ground. He turns away, his victory assured. "I had some hopes, but it ends here." But a gasp comes from the dust. "It's not over yet." Wu Jiam turns, annoyed. "You can barely even stand. What are you going to do?" In that instant, he lets his guard down. Her eyes, which were clouded with pain, snap open, now burning with a clear, bright light. This was the plan all along. "It ends with this," she screams, pouring every last bit of her stamina and energy into a single, powerful move. Basic Azure Arts, second form, final sever. The blade connects with a clean, solid thwack. Wu Jiam freezes, his eyes wide with disbelief before collapsing. From the stands, Woon leaps to his feet, pumping his fist. "All right, she won." The crowd is stunned into silence, which is then broken by an outraged cry. "That's cheating," a white sword disciple yells. He points an accusatory finger at Siwa, to lay low as if she had lost, and then ambush the opponent. "Isn't that cheating? How else could he lose to a young girl like that?" The crowd begins to murmur, the victory suddenly in question. But Bakley Woon's voice, cold and sharp, cuts through the noise. Was the White Sword Sect always so rude? He stands, his gaze pinning the accusing disciple. To think a mere disciple would question the leader of another sect. The public shaming is immediate. The sect leader, So Yo-Wang, his face a mask of cold fury, is forced to step in. "Please forgive my disciple's rudeness," he says, his voice dripping with false politeness. The White Sword Sect accepts this defeat. With the matter settled, the referee raises his hand. Siwa from the righteous heavens, Sect wins. The stadium erupts in genuine, thunderous applause. "Amazing. I heard the girl has been learning martial arts for less than a month." Siwa, beaming and exhausted, runs back to her master. "I won, Sect leader." Woon simply smiles. "Yeah, good work. Yuriang said he'd treat us to dinner." But later, in the deep shadows of the sect's corridors, So Yo-Wang's polite mask crumbles. He summons the trembling Wong Pao. "Poison that skank's food tonight with paralysis poison," he orders, his voice a venomous whisper. "Just enough to slow her movements tomorrow." Wong Pao is horrified. "Sect leader, So isn't finished. It won't be enough to just defeat her. Tell Jin Guang to shatter all her limbs and cripple her permanently." This is not a duel. It's a planned mutilation. Wong Pao, his conscience winning over his fear, refuses. I can't do such a thing." Slap. The sect leader backhands him across the face. "You fool." He leans in, his words crafted to strike the deepest wound. "If you lack talent, you should at least follow orders. That's why all the other disciples surpass you." As Wong Pao reels, his world collapsing under the weight of his old trauma, a new voice, casual and mocking, cuts through the darkness. "You seem to discipline your disciples quite severely, White Sword Sect leader." Bakley Woon steps out from the shadows, a wide, dangerous smile on his face. He had heard every single word. In the cold, open-air corridor, a tense silence shatters. Bakley Woon, the sect leader of the Righteous Heavens Sect, steps from the shadows, his voice casual and mocking. "I don't know the whole situation," he begins, his eyes locked on the cruel sect leader of the White Sword Sect, So Yo-Wang. "But wasn't that too harsh on that person?" He chides the older man, reminding him that a leader's duty is to lead, not abandon them. So's face, a mask of cold politeness, barely twitches. "How rude of you to interfere in another sect's affairs," he hisses, ordering Woon to mind your own business. Woon, however, stands his ground, a smirk playing on his lips. No, I came because I have business with you. He then delivers his stunning demand, a statement of pure, unbelievable arrogance. Hand over Wang Pao over to the righteous heavens sect. Wang Pao himself, the large disciple who had just been abused, freezes, his mind reeling. Why me out of nowhere? Woon simply states that his sect's methods will suit him better. So Yo Wang's eyes narrow, and a slow, venomous smile spreads across his face. He sees a trap. He turns his cold fury on the terrified Wang Pao, accusing him of becoming close to Woon and refusing his order. That's not the case, sect leader. Wang Pao stammers. Very well, so says, cutting him off, his gaze returning to Woon. I accept your proposal, but he adds a condition. He cannot part with his cherished disciple for nothing. He suggests a simple bet. His eyes gleam as he names the stakes. Siwa is a talent wasted in a small sect. The bet is simple. The winning sect of this duel will take one disciple from the loser. He is wagering the useless Wang Pao for the promising Siwa. Woon, without a flicker of hesitation, agrees. Fine, let it be so. But the wager is set. So turns and walks away. His final words a chilling promise. Even the one disciple you have will soon vanish. Woon is left alone with the trembling Wang Pao, to whom he poses a single, cryptic question. Why do you think I chose you? Woon leaves the stunned Wang Pao with one final confusing thought. There's a reason I let him take you away. Think carefully. The seed of doubt in his old master is planted. Moments later, the frantic merchant Yiriang corners Woon. What? Does Siwa know about that wager too? Woon, full of his usual bluster, simply scoffs. Ahem. Siwa might be pleased to have a junior brother, he says, reframing the bet as an act of liberation for Wang Pao, a talent left to rot at the White Sword sect. He boils the entire, terrifying situation down to a single, simple point. Besides, we just have to win, right? With that, he turns to his sole disciple, the weight of his words, the wager, and the entire sect landing squarely on her shoulders. Siwa, he says, his voice suddenly serious. Can you win this duel? She flinches, her voice small. Of course, I'll do my best, but you said the odds are 50-50. Woon's arrogant mask melts away. He looks her in the eyes, his voice soft but filled with an unshakable, terrifying certainty. That's right. But if it's you, you can do it. I trust you. The impact of his faith is immediate. Her fear doesn't vanish, but it's burned away by a new fire. Okay, I'll try. In Woon's mind, the sect system pings. Siwa's disposition, the seed of responsibility has sprouted. This scene is mirrored in the White Sword Sect's pavilion, where So Yo Wang's leadership is built on a different foundation, pure fear. We cannot be humiliated any further. Win at all costs, he snarls. Yes, sect leader, his disciple replies, his head bowed in terror. The tension in the arena is thick enough to choke on. The finals have arrived. Jing Guang, the White Sword Sect's champion, is warned by a fellow disciple to be cautious. Jing Guang, his face a mask of pure arrogance, merely scoffs. I won't be careless like Wu Jiam, he sneers, dismissing Siwa's incredible victories as nothing more than a beginner's luck and tricks. His eyes burn with a cold malice. I will shatter all false hopes. The referee calls them to the center of the platform. Jing Guang begins his taunts immediately, making it to the finals. I commend you, but your luck runs out here. Siwa, her nerves steady, stand her ground. No one knows who's better until it's really over. The referee's hand drops. Begin. Jing Guang readies himself, his mind already running through his strategy. She'll probably avoid a head-on clash, he analyzes. A beginner's inner energy only allows for sneaky tactics. He expects a trick. He is completely unprepared for the reality. Siwa, in a burst of motion, does the exact opposite. She charges straight at him. The sound of their weapons colliding, clang, echoes through the silent stadium. A jolt of pure, unexpected force travels up Jing Guang's arm, sending a shockwave through his body. Kook! He stumbles back, his mind reeling in disbelief. This woman, her inner energy is stronger than expected. In Siwa's mind, her master's voice, calm and confident from their training, cuts through the roar of the crowd. The opponent assumes you lack inner energy. That's only natural to think. But don't you have the extreme, in constitution? You naturally accumulate inner energy. The fight becomes a flurry of clang, 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 as she parries his blows, her strength matching his, Woon's final instruction echoing in her ears. You only get one chance. The shock of Siwa's power is real, but Jingguang is still the more experienced warrior. He parries a heavy blow with a sharp hook, his skill winning out where his strength was misjudged. I'll admit, your inner energy is above average. He snarls, his arrogance returning. However, you're still a beginner. He finds his opening. In a blur of motion, he ducks under her guard and lands a vicious, spinning kick square in her side. Kia! Siwa cries out as she's thrown across the platform, the wind knocked from her lungs. The pain is blinding. He's strong, she gasps, scrambling to her feet. Jingguang gives her no time to recover, pouncing like a predator. I'll finish you off within 10 seconds. He presses his attack, his blade a relentless storm of steel. Siwa is pushed to the very brink of defeat, her body screaming, her guard about to break. But in that moment of absolute desperation, a single, defiant thought ignites in her mind. I won't lose like this. That thought, that spark of will, is the key. The Sect's system pings, unseen by all but her master. The disposition responsibility has been activated. Her other core traits, diligence and adversity, flare to life. The system announces that responsibility is taking the center as all three fuse into a new disposition. A new, unique trait is born, clear mind. In an instant, the world changes. The roar of the crowd fades. The panic in her heart vanishes, replaced by a cold, perfect calm. The system's description is precise. In extreme situations, reasoning and judgment are sharply improved. Her frantic, desperate movements cease. She takes a single, centered breath and lets out a cry of pure, focused power that stops Jingguang's attack cold. He stares at her, a flicker of genuine fear in his eyes. No, Jingguang, his confidence shattered by Siwa's sudden transformation, is now on the defensive. He realizes his normal attacks won't work. He funnels all of his remaining energy into his weapon, his blade beginning to glow with a menacing, fiery aura. You've held out well so far. I'll give you praise for that, he snarls, his voice heavy with killing intent. But can you withstand this blow? He lunges, a blur of red and black, his ultimate technique aimed to kill. It's over. From the sidelines, Woon shouts, his voice raw, Siwa. In her mind, now a place of perfect calm, she hears her master's voice one last time. I trust you. The fiery blade descends, but instead of meeting steel, it collides with an invisible wall of biting, arctic cold. A cold, energy yard. The fire hisses and extinguishes instantly. Jingguang freezes, his eyes wide with disbelief. She has, in her moment of need, instinctively awakened a powerful technique from her extreme constitution, a skill she was never taught. In that single, frozen moment of a shock, her clear mind sees its opening. Her body moves with flawless precision. Basic Azure Art's third technique. Single point. It is not a wild swing. It is a single, perfect, economical thrust. It lands. The arena is silent. Siwa stands over her fallen opponent, lets out a long, shaky breath, and whispers, "Phew, it's a little chilly." Her energy, her will, and her adrenaline spent, she collapses to the stone. "Siwa!" Woon yells, vaulting the barrier and running to her side. A referee tries to stop him. "Don't climb into the duel ring." Woon explodes in righteous fury. "What do you mean? Can't you see that the outcome has already been decided?" He gestures to Jingguang, who is groaning on the ground. "That kook." The referee, pale and trembling, looks at the scene and finally makes the call. The winner is the righteous heavens, Sect Siwa. The crowd, stunned silent for a moment, erupts into a woa of pure astonishment. High above, a disciple runs to So Yo-Wang, his voice cracking with shame. "Sect leader, the White Sword Sect has been made a laughingstock." The dust settles on the dueling platform, and a heavy silence hangs in the air. Siwa, trembling from a mixture of exhaustion and a strange, cold power that flooded her, finally collapses to her knees. Bakley Woon is at her side in an instant, his voice low. "Can you stand?" She looks up, her face pale, but her eyes are blazing with a fierce, unwavering pride. "I kept my promise." A single, sharp clap breaks the quiet. Then another, in a heartbeat, The entire stadium erupts into a thunderous, genuine wave of congratulations. The announcer, his voice shaking with the upset, makes it official. The winner of the White Sword Martial Contest is the Righteous Heavens Sect. But before the cheers can even peak, Woon leaps onto the stage, seizing the moment. "I would like to say something," he booms, his voice carrying over the crowd. "1 month from now, our sect's establishment ceremony will be held. We ask for everyone's attendance." The cheering stops, replaced by shocked, confused murmurs. They haven't even held their ceremony yet. The true, stinging humiliation lands. Did the White Sword Sect lose to a brand new sect? For So Yo-wang, this is too much. His face contorts in pure, unadulterated rage. "Righteous Heavens Sect leader," he roars, "are you seriously using the White Sword Sect for your ceremony?" He lunges for any excuse, not to mention hiding the cold, energy art. "How dare you deceive me?" A wave of pure, murderous energy explodes from So Yo-wang. He lunges, his attack aimed not at Woon, but at the exhausted and vulnerable Siwa. But a shadow moves faster. Clack! A heavy wooden staff intercepts the killing blow. Wang Pao, his legs trembling but his arms steady, stands between his old master and his new sect. "Sect leader," he gasps, "you're the one who should maintain your dignity. This act of defiance is the final betrayal. So you're defending the Righteous Heavens Sect already?" So roars. He points, his voice cracking with fury. "Traitors are to be executed immediately." He brings his full power down on Wang Pao. But the blow never lands. Bakley Woon is suddenly there, his hand raised, his calm a stark, chilling contrast to So's fury. What is the meaning of this? White Sword Sect leader, Woon's voice is dangerously quiet. He makes his public declaration. Wang Pao is now a disciple of the Righteous Heavens Sect. Treat him with respect. Then he issues the final, public checkmate, his hand casually dropping to his sword. "If you're dissatisfied with the result, I'll face you directly." The entire arena holds its breath. So Yo-wang is trapped. He has been shamed, his cruelty exposed, and now he is challenged by a man he knows he cannot beat. He trembles, not with fear, but with a choked, powerless rage. Quack! Defeated, he can only spit out his last words. "Damn it. Do as you please," before turning his back and storming away from his own tournament in utter disgrace. As his former master storms away, So Yo-wang throws one last hateful promise over his shoulder. "Righteous Heavens Sect leader, I will never forget how you humiliated me today." Wang Pao is left standing in the center of the platform, an outcast, his old life gone. He turns to Woon, his massive shoulders slumped in defeat, his voice a broken whisper. "Can somebody like me, who doesn't have any talent, really start over?" Woon looks at this broken giant, a man who has been told his whole life that he is worthless, and places a firm, steadying hand on his shoulder. "You're already a fine martial artist," Woon says, his voice ringing with absolute certainty. "I'll prove it myself." This single, powerful validation shatters Wang Pao's lifetime of defenses. The ghost of his past, his master's voice calling him a fool, a half-witted idiot, telling him the only thing you've got going for you is your physique, all fade. He drops to his knees, not from a blow, but from a profound, soul-shaking wave of relief. Hot tears stream down his face, washing away the arena's dust and a lifetime of shame. "Thank you," he sobs. "I'll work hard from now on." As he bows, Woon's internal system confirms it. Wang Pao has become the second disciple. The contest is finally over. As they walk off, Yiriang grumbles that Siwa did all the work, but Wang Pao is taking all the credit with his dramatic display. Time skips forward 2 weeks later. Life at the Righteous Heavens Sect has found a new, comical rhythm. In the training yard, Wang Pao, the new, massive second disciple, trembles as he holds a deep horse stance, sweat pouring from his brow. Standing over him, her arms crossed and her expression one of deep, serious wisdom, is Siwa, his senior sister. Wang Pao, a man with 8 years of martial arts training, is deeply confused. "Ah, senior sister?" he finally ventures, his voice strained. "Besides horse training, we haven't." Siwa, with a grand total of 2 months' experience, puffs up her chest. "Ahem," she coughs. "The sect leader always says to value the basics." She pats his enormous shoulder with the confidence of a grandmaster. "Don't rush it. If you continue to work hard, You could be like me someday. Wong Pao can only manage a pained, haha, okay. He tries to find his place. Still, when it comes to physical work, I'm confident. Siawa's eyes light up. Really? Then you can go fetch water alone. From a distance, Woon watches his disciples, a satisfied smile on his face. His invisible sect system is open, confirming his instincts. Name, Wong Pao. Strengths, excellent physique. Exceptional talent in understanding fundamentals and form. Weaknesses, extremely low energy sense. Woon's judgment was correct. Wong Pao wasn't a failure. He was a specialist whose talent was understanding techniques and maintaining unshaken focus. His old sect just didn't know what to do with him. First it was Siawa. Now there's Wong Pao. Woon muses, his pride swelling. I really do have an eye for talent. Woon's brief moment of peace is broken by Yang, who arrives carrying a large stack of scrolls. How are the preparations? Woon asks. Yang is beaming. Things are going smoothly, he reports. The gamble at the tournament paid off. Thanks to the publicity, we've received a flood of attendance letters. Woon grins. Oh, looks like the promotion is doing good. But Yang's smile vanishes. However, he pulls a single, official-looking document from a pile. Among them is an order from the Murim Alliance. The name hits like a ton of bricks. The Murim Alliance? Yang reads the charge, and Woon's world tilts. It's a plagiarism review request filed by the Bakley clan, his old family. A plagiarism review? He explodes. It's been 15 years. This isn't a legal claim. It's a political assassination. It's exactly like them. He snarls. They chose to strike when their opponent is off guard. Damn it. Just as everything was going well. He knows he's innocent. His techniques are the culmination of my 15 years of enlightenment, with not a single shred of the Bakley clan's martial arts. But he also knows the truth doesn't matter. The inspector will side with the powerful clan, and he'll be found guilty. He'll be barred from teaching, and worse, will owe a huge compensation fee. The thought makes him clutch his head in agony. Ah, my money. They will definitely come to intervene with the establishment ceremony. He paces, his mind racing. He must find a way to check the basic martial arts of other sects as well, to prove his are unique. But where can he possibly get them? That he's so lost in this new crisis that he doesn't even hear Siawa calling his name. Sect leader. She finally gets right in his face. We have visitors. Visitors. Woon storms into the courtyard and freezes. Two young men are there, his disciples watching them warily. One, with wild black hair, is poking at a priceless statue. Wow, he really bought this whole manor? That miser did. The other, with the refined look of the Wudong sect, smacks his hand away. Don't touch anything carelessly, or I'll kill you. Woon's defensive posture relaxes. Who are you? He asks, though a dawning recognition is in his eyes. The Wudong disciple breaks into a wide, familiar grin. It's been a while, Heavenly Squad Captain. These are his old brothers in arms from the Alliance. Wudong Sect's Little Moon, Chung Ha, and Namgung Clan's Little Demon, Namgung Wu. They laugh. Or should we address you as the Righteous Heaven's Sect leader? Siawa is confused by her master's strange, giddy expression. He isn't just happy to see old friends. His mind is racing. Wudong, Namgung, these are two of the most powerful sects in the world. They didn't just bring friendship, they brought the solution. The plagiarism review. The basic arts. This is it. A slow, brilliant, almost manic smile spreads across Woon's face. This could turn the entire situation upside down. Elsewhere, Yang is pacing, thinking Woon should just back out because this trial is on a whole other level. Yang gives his servant an order that, I'll be drafting a letter. Deliver it. To where? Yang's smile is now a terrifying, all-in gamble. If we fear the Murim Alliance and the Bakley clan's influence, then we'll match it by upping the stakes. He holds up the new, explosive invitation. Let's also involve the unorthodox alliance. Inside the cold, austere halls of the Bakley clan, a bitter confrontation is underway. Bakley Changxiang, the outer hall leader, stands before his patriarch, Bakley Gang, the father of Bakley Woon. The air is thick with disapproval. You've done something unnecessary. Outer hall leader, Gang's voice is low and heavy with displeasure. He had given no order to provoke them, let alone launch a plagiarism investigation against a sect that hasn't even officially opened yet. But Changxiang is not intimidated. He brushes off the patriarch's command as a mere personal decision. With cutting precision, He dismantles gangs other children as potential heirs. The first son, Seonyi, has no interest in martial arts and is too soft. The daughter, Sanyi, while talented, is hasty and, most damningly, a daughter. Chang Xiang's argument is clear. Woon is the only one worthy. His voice rises with a passion that borders on obsession. Why did you let him leave the clan? He recounts the boy Woon once was gifted, brilliant, and even pure of heart. Nobody, he insists, could possibly dislike that boy. He reveals his true motivation. This is the will of the Elder Council, a move to remind him of his place and his roots. Bakley Gang listens, his face unreadable. Indeed, he concedes, his voice a quiet rumble. He finally relents. Fine. But as he gives his permission, his internal thoughts reveal a far more complex game. He sees this not as an attack, but as his final duty as his father. He believes adversity is necessary for growth. This is a test. He wants Woon to learn to protect his own sect. He gives his dark blessing. Go. Let him learn that no matter where he goes, he remains under the Bakley clan's rule. With his patriarch's reluctant approval, Bakley Changxiang's face hardens with a grim resolve. I will personally bring Woon back to the clan. The scene shifts, the weeks flying by until the fated day. Righteous Heaven's Sect Establishment Day. Chang Xiang travels with his co-conspirator, Li Su, the vice strategist of the Murim Alliance's 3rd Strategist Corps. Li Su is smug, his voice dripping with condescension. Don't worry, he assures Chang Xiang. No sect has ever passed our basic martial arts plagiarism review unscathed. He doesn't understand the Bakley clan's fixation, noting Chang Xiang's obsession with Bakley Woon, who is, in his eyes, merely family by blood. That's where you're wrong, Chang Xiang growls, his gaze fixed on the road ahead. He's not just family. He reveals the desperate truth that fuels his actions. If Woon hadn't left the clan, he would have become the greatest sword master of the current generation. This isn't about family pride. It's about reclaiming a lost, legendary weapon. The clan still needs him. They arrive at the towering gates of the Righteous Heaven's Sect manor. This is the moment of reckoning. Voice a booming command that echoes across the courtyard. Open the gate. As the massive gates dramatically swing open, Woon's private sect system flashes a warning. The user's heart rate is increasing. He is nervous, but he silences the alert. Quiet. The inspectors are met not with a man in a small, dark room, but with an epic scene. Bakley Woon stands on a high pavilion, his new sect's banner flapping behind him, before a massive, cheering crowd. The open heavens! Command has revealed the full scale of his establishment ceremony. Woon, the picture of a calm and confident leader, steps forward. Thank you, everyone, for gathering here today. Then, in a stunning display of audacity, he seizes control of the entire narrative. Before I proceed, there is an issue that must first be settled. He, himself, announces the accusation to the world, his voice booming with righteous clarity. Righteous Heaven's Sect has been accused of plagiarizing the martial arts of the Bakley clan. The crowd explodes in shocked murmurs. What? What nonsense is he saying? Did he just admit to plagiarism? A old man, watching from the courtyard, lets out a dark chuckle. Cuckoo. This is more interesting than I expected. Li Su, the strategist, smirks, believing Woon is surrendering. But Chang Xiang knows that this has looked different from where I'm standing. Woon raises his hand, silencing the crowd, and locks eyes with his accusers. I've received word that the Murim Alliance's inspection team is here today. Will you please step forward? The crowd gasps as the infamous Moonsword, a master of the Bakley clan, steps onto the stage. Now, on the platform, Chang Xiang asks Woon to hear your intentions. Woon's reply is a bomb. It's simple. I wish to undergo a public plagiarism verification. Here, before everyone. Li Su, the strategist, is floored. His plan to control this in a quiet, biased review is shattered. You mean right here? He panics, sputtering about how normally such verifications go through strict inspections and require consensus. He tries to de-escalate. Sir Bakley, this gathering was meant to mediate, not for the Bakley clan to condemn. But it's too late. Woon's mind is triumphant. Good. With so many small and mid-tier sects watching, the Murim Alliance can't appear biased. But he has forced their hand in front of the entire martial world. May we begin? Woon asks, the picture of polite cooperation. He steps to the center of the stage and begins his demonstration. This is one of the righteous heaven's sects. Basic martial arts, the Azure arts. He channels his energy, his form perfect. First technique, heaven, earth, and man. Chang Xiang and Li Su watch the demonstration, their eyes sharp. Oh, so that's the technique. Wu notes that it draws upon the three principles of heaven, earth, and man. This is the opening they were waiting for. It also, Woon adds, his voice loud enough for the inspectors to hear, simultaneously borrows from the Namgung clan's techniques. Woon pounces, making his official proclamation. Upon direct verification, it has been confirmed that 23 of Righteous Heaven's sect's basic martial arts are plagiarized from various sects. Li Su, playing his part perfectly, feigns shock. What? Wait, that's absurd. He launches his counterattack, his voice ringing with logic. There's no representative from other sects here to validate such claims. So who has decided? Right on cue, a cheerful voice calls from the crowd. Ah, we're here. Woon's old friends, Namgung Wu and Cheng Ha, stride through the parting crowd. Li Su's blood runs cold. The Namgung clan's little demon, Taoist Cheng Ha, the Wudong sect's little moon. He knows who these men are. Why are you here? They give their perfectly crafted excuse. They were nearby for a mission and decided to stop by for their former senior's ceremony. Namgung Wu, little demon, confirms Woon's art is similar to his clan's, which indeed embodies the essence of heaven, earth, and man. Cheng Ha, little moon, nods. The Wudong sect shares the same opinion. Then, she drops the real bomb. Take a look at this. She produces a massive stack of scrolls. Letters of confirmation from various sects acknowledging the suspicion of plagiarism. She turns to Li Su, her face a mask of polite inquiry. You say the Bakley clan's martial arts have been plagiarized. Does this mean all the other sects are involved in plagiarism as well then? That's absurd, Chang Xiang shouts, cornered. Namgung Wu pounces. But isn't that the exact argument the Bakley clan made? He holds up one final letter, signed by the current Heavenly Squad captain, Moyong Hyan, confirming her own techniques also overlap with the Bakley clan's martial arts. Namgung Wu's voice booms across the silent stadium, aimed directly at the trembling, furious inspectors. But there's no way the oh-so-great Murim Alliance would stage such a biased review, right? The trap has snapped shut. Chang Xiang can only stand there, shaking with pure, unadulterated rage, his entire plan in ruins. Bakley, Woon, the Murim Alliance's strategist, Li Su, is speechless, his face a mask of pure disbelief. How could you possibly, he stammers, his mind failing to grasp the situation. Don't tell me. You wrote out the basic martial arts by hand and sent them. But Bakley Woon ignores the trembling official. His gaze is fixed, cold, and unyielding on the one man who matters, his uncle, the Moon Sword, Bakley Chang Xiang. I've said everything I needed to say. Woon's voice cuts through the stunned silence of the courtyard. Now it's time for you to answer. This is the final move in his high-stakes game. Woon knows his uncle is trapped, his mind racing. The moment he admits that the basic martial arts of the Bakley clan will become entangled with 23 other sections. Will my uncle really force it through? Chang Xiang's entire body trembles, his hands clenched into white-knuckled fists, the public humiliation coiling in his gut. His voice is a low, dangerous growl, barely holding back an explosion of pure rage. So, this is your answer. The air explodes. In a furious, desperate lunge, Chang Xiang abandons all pretense of a legal review and attacks his own nephew. Sect leader, Cheng Ha and Namgung Wu cry out, moving to protect their master. Don't come any closer, Woon roars, his blade flashing to parry the first blow. His eyes are locked on his uncle's. This is my personal matter. Chang Xiang's face is a mask of anguish and fury, his voice breaking. No matter what anyone says, you are the blood of the Bakley clan, the future pillar. He demands, his voice cracking with emotion. Do you still refuse to let go of the past? Clang. Their swords meet again, the ringing of steel silencing the crowd. You're the one who can't let go. Woon shouts back, his voice raw. His uncle's attacks become more desperate, more emotional, his words filled with a strange mix of rage and grief. You still resent the clan? Because they didn't avenge her? He parries a blow, his eyes filled with a pained understanding. I can understand hating the clan. That couldn't even protect your mother. As they exchange a flurry of blows, his voice rises to a scream. But even so, if you intend to destroy the Bakley clan, then I will. He unleashes a powerful strike, the force of it sending Woon skidding back across the stone courtyard. But Woon is unharmed, his stance firm, his gaze steady. I won't deny my own bloodline, he states calmly, his breath steady. He admits he felt resentment, but I've already let most of it go. Then why won't you come back? Chang Xiang screams, the one question he cannot comprehend. Woon's answer is the core of his new identity, the truth he is willing to die for. Because as a sect leader, I must become stronger through my own will. I'm no longer the man who left the Bakley clan in anger. His uncle scoffs, his last attempt to break his nephew's spirit. How long do you think you can last? If the main house pressures you again, a small sect like yours. Woon is unmoved. I'm prepared to face that, as I've always been. A brief, warm memory flashes in Chang Xiang's mind, cutting through the tension. He sees a younger, laughing version of his nephew, their training swords crossed. Uncle, did you see that? His younger self cheers, his face bright with pride. I finally took one of your strikes head on. The memory of that love, that bond, softens his expression. Ha ha. Then try taking this one too, Woon. The memory fades. Woon sheathes his sword. He addresses his uncle first as a leader, his voice strong and formal. As the sect leader of the Righteous Heaven sect, I say that our basic martial arts have not been plagiarized from any other sects. Then his voice lowers, his gaze softens, and he speaks as a man, as a nephew. And as a nephew of the Bakley clan, I ask for a little more time. Someday the truth will come to light. This dual plea, one of a rival, one of family, finally breaks through his uncle's hardened exterior. Chang Xiang sighs, a small, sad, and incredibly proud smile touching his lips. He turns to the entire, silent assembly. He draws himself up to his full height. I, Bakley Chang Xiang, outer hall leader of the Bakley clan, and the younger brother of its patriarch, declare this in my name as the Moon Sword. He takes a deep breath. The Righteous Heaven sect did not plagiarize the Bakley clan's martial arts. The words hang in the air for a second, and then the courtyard explodes in a massive, deafening whoa. From the crowd, Woon's allies relax. Old man smirks. He looked so worn out. I guess he doesn't seem to need it. The older man we seen before the scene is unorthodox alliance leader, and he says the old man really chose his disciple well. A sharp voice cuts in. Be quiet, old man. A young woman, G.A. Wool, a disciple of the Yellow Dragon Hall sect leader, and another black aura, smirking man sees and stares at the manor with intense, calculating eyes. So this entire manor is like a single divine artifact. Unseen by most, another powerful figure, the unorthodox alliance leader, watches Woon with a new, dangerous interest. You're more interesting than I expected. I'll head out first. He vanishes, leaving G.A. Wool, and G.A. Wool spots him, shaken. That man, my first trading partner. But the victory is short-lived. It's been 3 days since the sect establishment ceremony, and the courtyard is completely empty. Siwa is in despair. Not a single applicant. Still no one. Woon is in his office, trying to meditate his mantra of keep calm. You mustn't be swayed, doing absolutely nothing to stop his hands from visibly shaking. His internal system flashes a warning. User's heart rate is unstable. He grips his calligraphy brush so hard it snaps in two. Sect leader, your brush is breaking, Siwa yelps. Siwa asks the simple, agonizing question. How do we even recruit disciples? One explains that applicants come naturally to sects with reputation or trust, two things they have only just begun to build. One has a terrible idea. Should Wang Pao go out and start recruiting on the street? Wang Pao is horrified. What? Me? Woon immediately scraps it and shoves a letter into Siwa's hands. Instead, deliver this to the Hawun Merchant Group. It's a method to recruit disciples. Woon's method is already in motion. Miles away, at the Murim Alliance Military Department, a high-ranking strategist named Jagal Pyong is receiving a report. The disciples from the Murian Martial School have rejected the combined training. The reason? The upcoming graduation spar. The Alliance's schools are divided. Muzhong for major sects and Murian for minor sects and unaffiliated. While usually even, this year the Muzhong disciples are too strong. The Murian school has lost every sparring match for 3 years straight. Their morale is collapsing. Their schoolmaster is quietly supporting the boycott to save face. This is a full-blown rebellion. Just as Jagal Pyong wonders what to do, a messenger pigeon arrives. He reads the note, Woon's letter. A slow, calculating smile spreads across his face. He gives a new order: gather all Murian martial school disciples. The training will proceed as planned. That night, in a dark forest near Hualong County, the rebellious Murian disciples are on edge. One of them, Xian Wugang, jolts awake from a nightmare, gasping for air. His brother, Xian Munchiak, is on watch. Wugang is consumed by guilt. It's my fault, he whispers, his voice shaking. I was the one who encouraged the boycott. He believes their punishment is being sent to some nameless sect. Munchiak is more cynical, his voice hard. It's fine. If they are too shabby, we'll pressure the sect leader. At least that way, they'll start respecting our opinions again. As he speaks, he hears a twig snap in the darkness. Who's there? Bakley Woon steps out of the trees, his smile unsettling in the pale moonlight. Nice to meet you, Murian martial school disciples. I am Bakley Woon, the Righteous Heavens sect leader. His smile vanishes. His voice drops, cold and absolute. At this moment, the entrance test begins. The rule is simple. If even one of you can set foot past the Righteous Heavens sect's gate, you pass. Before they can even process his words, he flares his aura and shouts, Murian martial school, prepare for battle. He moves like lightning. A loud thwack echoes through the forest as he strikes Wugang, sending him flying backward. Xian Wugang. Munchiak screams in terror. Woon stands over the fallen boy, his expression now cold and predatory. This is not a greeting. This is a hunt. Of course, he says, his voice a chilling promise. That's if you can escape from me alive. Far from the dark forest, in the prestigious Hubei province near Mount Wudong, disciples of the elite Muzhong Martial School lounge in the sun. They gossip about their rivals, the Murian Martial School. Did you hear the news? One begins, explaining their training will be at a newly founded sect nobody's ever heard of. One disciple, a young man with cold, sharp eyes, doesn't even look up. Not interested, he says, his voice flat. It's meaningless. His peers try to speculate. One suggesting the Murim Alliance chose it to balance things out, another joking, maybe there's a hidden martial master there. The young woman simply stands, her resolve like a sheet of ice. It's all the same, no matter where they go. In the end, I'll still win. She walks away, leaving her confused companions behind. This is Bakley San, Bakley Woon's younger sister. Her coldness is not arrogance. It's a burning, focused vow. She grips the hilt of her sword, her thoughts a low fire. Woon. Until I find out why Woon abandoned the clan. I have no intention of losing. The scene cuts violently back to the pitch-black forest, where that same one has just sent a disciple flying. Xian Wugang, are you all right? A student cries. Bakley Woon, the man his sister is hunting, stands over the groaning boy, his assessment a cold, clinical whisper. Oh, not too bad. One disciple, Xian Munchiak, his voice trembling with a mixture of fear and righteous anger, steps forward to confront their attacker. My name is Xian Munchiak. Are you the Righteous Heavens sect leader? Then why are you attacking us? Woon's reply is chilling, his voice echoing in the dark woods. Think of it as my method of teaching. Before I teach you, I need to know who you are. Munchiak, a natural leader, doesn't back down. He recites the rules he was given. You said if even one of us reaches the gate, we pass the entrance test. He then asks the question that hangs heavy in the air, his hand tightening on his sword. Then what happens if we fail the test? Woon's friendly teacher, mask drops, revealing the cold, calculating strategist beneath. If they can't even pass such a simple entrance test, he explains, there's no need for you to participate in the sparring matches. His ultimatum is psychologically devastating. He won't just fail them. He'll tie up every of you by your hands and feet and lock you up in the storage until the tournament is over. They will lose without even getting the chance to fight. He will inflict upon them the worst humiliation a martial artist can face. To punctuate his point, he moves, a blur in the darkness, and another disciple falls with a pained, ah. Munchiak is horrified. Wait, in that case. His back against the wall, Xian Munchiak makes a desperate, defiant gamble. He points his sword at the shadowy figure of Woon. If we defeat you right here and now, he challenges, his voice tight, would that count as passing the entrance test? A slow, dangerous smirk spreads across Woon's face. He is amused. Fine, try it. With a roar of quack, Munchiak lunges, pouring all his fear and anger into a single strike. He is met with an effortless parry and a palm strike that sends him crashing to the forest floor. Woon stands over him, his voice dripping with disappointment. If your opponent was anyone but me, that might have worked. The remaining disciples freeze up, their courage shattering like glass. Woon stalks between them like a predator. Good. Huh. Where did all that spirit from earlier go? He points out their flaws with brutal precision, striking as he speaks. Xian Wugang, who had risen, is knocked back again. For someone so spirited, he's rather stiff and restricted. He drops another, Dan Rian. All the while, his mind is analyzing them. Xian Munchiak, his assessment is quick. He's seen real combat. But the rest are too tense. They're all stiff from panic, failing to use their advantage in numbers. He zeroes in on Wu Gang, the one who hesitated. Worried you might hurt me? That he laughs, with that level of skill, that he mentally notes that these three of them stand out the most. His lesson isn't over. It's time to provoke them a bit more. Woon stops moving and lets his voice, cold with disdain, do the work. I'm very disappointed in all of you. He lands the killing blow. You crumbled. Because you met an opponent that's unexpectedly strong. He diagnoses their true weakness, the reason they are here in the first place. So it's true that you're all trapped in a mindset of defeat. This insult hits Munchiak harder than any physical strike. Damn it, the leader in him roars to life. He barks new orders. Listen up, Xian Wugang. You handle defense. He's figured it out. He talks big, but he's still holding back for our sake. A new, desperate plan forms. The three of us can create an opening. I'll distract him. Dan Rian, you finish it. They move as one. Woon smirks. Do you finally feel like fighting? He's coming. The three disciples attack in a coordinated flurry. Woon, for the first time, seems impressed. Oh, so you can coordinate, after all. But their plan is based on a fatal assumption. As Munchiak yells, Kwa, and Dan Rian screams, damn you, they are met with a force they cannot comprehend. Woon's voice is a cold whisper in their ears. In a fight against a true martial master, what you must fear most is familiarity. You attacked assuming I wouldn't go all out. That's far too optimistic. With a devastating series of precise, powerful blows, Woon shatters their coordinated attack, sending all three leaders crashing to the ground. Quack! He stands over them, his disappointment seeming genuine. I suppose I expected too much from you. I hoped you'd at least have a spark of martial talent. He sheathes his sword. This is the end. A promise is a promise. He is about to leave them to their humiliating fate. But then, he stops. Xian Wugang, the one who hesitated, the one with the spirit, is pulling himself to his feet, his body shaking. A dark, unfamiliar energy begins to flare around him. Woon's head snaps back, his eyes wide. Well, that's unexpected. His gaze sharpens, his mind instantly analyzing the new technique. This technique looks familiar. The great disaster Sword Hyung Seo's. Unorthodox martial arts. Huh. The boy is panting, clearly risking his own life by channeling this dangerous power just to pass the training. Woon's disappointment vanishes, replaced by a sudden, intense interest. Fine, he says, his voice now a low, eager growl. Show me your full strength. Wugang roars and attacks. Clang! The force of the blow is immense, sending a numbing vibration all the way up Woon's arm. He is genuinely shocked. This kid, he has incredible talent. A slow, terrifying, and joyful grin spreads across Woon's face. Coo. His Sect system flashes a warning. Your predatory instinct is coming up once again. Woon's eyes are wide, his smile manic. He has found his next disciple. I want this one. Xian Wugang's world returns in a dizzying, painful rush. Where am I? He's in an unfamiliar room, the clean, simple architecture slowly coming into focus. Is this the righteous heavens sect? The memories crash back, the dark forest, the overwhelming power, and then nothing. I must have overexerted myself yesterday and collapsed. As a fellow disciple, Woon Jin enters to check on him. A jolt of pure, ice-cold terror seizes Wu Gang's heart. Come to think of it, he didn't just overexert. He lost control. I used the blood sword Sect's sword technique right in front of the righteous heavens Sect leader. The secret he has guarded with his life is out. They know. He must have noticed that I'm from the unorthodox faction. Panic, sharp and suffocating claws at his throat. He's a spy, discovered deep in orthodox territory. At this rate, I might even be executed as an unorthodox faction spy. But Woon Jin simply tells him it's assembly time. This casual, normal act is more terrifying than an interrogation. Strange. Why isn't he in chains? As he walks, his mind races. Or did the sect leader not notice? He immediately dismisses the thought. No, he definitely noticed. He remembers Woon's expression, the way the man had recognized my sword energy and even mentioned my master, the Great Disaster Sword, by name. The sect leader knew everything. He could have exposed me as a spy. So why didn't he? He is a mouse being toyed with by a cat. What is he planning? He arrives at the training ground to see Bakley Woon waiting, his expression unreadable, and Wu Gang feels like he's walking to his own execution. Bakley Woon stands before the handful of haggard disciples, his voice calm and authoritative. First off, you all passed the first test. The group, Cian Wu Gang, Cian Munchiak, Dan Rian, Woon Jin, and Oh Ryong, look around anew, dawning horror on their faces. Now that he mentioned it, does that mean we're the only ones left? Woon confirms their fears. They are the only 5 who remain from the original 15. He lays out the next phase of their training. For the next 15 days, they will spar against disciples of the Righteous Heavens Sect once a day. He tells them to use the rest of their time to study and refine their techniques. He nods to Siwa to distribute the items, casually pointing to Munchiak. You use a spear, correct? Siwa steps forward, her posture exuding a confidence that is entirely new. I'll be your sparring partner. My name is Siwa. Wang Pao, the mountain of man beside her, just shuffles awkwardly. Hello, I'm Wang Pao. Cian Munchiak, ever the pragmatist, cuts the pleasantries short. Let's begin today's spars first. Siwa, however, takes charge. Sounds good, she says, then makes a stunning proposal. Then how about we do 5 against 2 at once? It'll save time. Woon grins, thinking, as expected from my dear Siwa. Munchiak, misreading her calm as arrogance, scoffs. Quite confident, he mutters to his group. I'll handle this myself. You all just watch. Munchiak, his pride still stinging from 3 years of losses to the Muzhong school, explodes into action. He carries the weight of his entire group's reputation. We won't be defeated by some no-name sect, he roars. I'll finish this quickly. He unleashes a furious flurry of spear thrusts, a storm of steel aimed at the young woman. But Siwa is a ghost. She sways and ducks, his attacks hitting nothing but air, her movements calm, economical, and utterly flawless. Frustrated, he overextends, it's not over yet, and lunges for a finishing strike. In that precise instant, Siwa's unique trait, clear mind, has been activated. The world slows. She sees his attack, his balance, his error. With a single, fluid motion, she steps inside his guard, her wooden staff trapping his spear and redirecting its momentum, and with a sharp, powerful thwack, slams him hard in the ribs. Kook! He's disarmed and on the ground in a single second. She stands over him, her voice perfectly level. This will hurt a bit, so bear with it. Before the others can even react, she turns to them. Time for the rest of you to come at me together. Woon Jin, insulted, shouts, my name's not the rest. It's Woon Jin, and charges, only to be met by an immovable wall. Wang Pao doesn't even flinch, blocking the strike with one massive arm. Siwa yells, Wang Pao. The giant disciple grins, his eyes locked on Woon Jin. Now it's my turn. He unleashes a single, powerful blow that sends Woon Jin flying with a pained ugh. Seeing their 2 strongest leaders defeated in seconds, the remaining disciples panic and finally agree to go all out. They attack Siwa and Wang Pao as a group, but their frantic, uncoordinated strikes are useless. These guys, one groans, they're blocking every single one of our attacks. Their morale shatters completely. Damn it, we're struggling against some nameless sect. Dan Rian, in a final, desperate scream, charges in. He is met by a perfectly coordinated counterattack from Siwa and Wang Pao. A final, decisive thwack, and he's on the ground. The match is already decided. Siwa turns to the last one standing, Orion, who has been frozen in terror, her mind unable to process the one-sided slaughter. Looks like you're the only one left now. Do you still want to continue? Wu Gang just stares, his world broken. This can't be. We had 5 people. Woon steps forward, his voice cutting through the stunned silence. It seems like everything's been wrapped up. As the 5 defeated disciples nurse their bruises and shattered pride, Bakley Woon delivers the final, soul-crushing lesson. For reference, he says, his voice casual, Siwa has only been learning formal martial arts for about a month. The disciples' blood runs cold. What? Their minds reel. How can a 1-month novice have that much inner energy? Woon ignores their shock and gives them their new purpose. From now on, you'll research coordinated techniques that 2 or more of you can execute together. He masterfully twists the knife, connecting this new training directly to their deepest shame. Especially for those of you who've lost a Muzhong Martial School 3 years in a row, this lesson should resonate even more. He's not just training them. He's rebuilding them from the ground up, telling them the key is to trust yourselves and your comrades, which will build unshakable confidence. He dismisses them. That's all for today's training. Rest well. Then, as the others begin to limp away, he adds one final, quiet command. And C and Wu Gang, stay behind. Wu Gang freezes. Pardon. Woon, praising his Sect's system's perceptive new sound barrier function, raises his hand. A silent, invisible bubble forms around them, sealing them off from the world. The friendly, smiling Sect leader vanishes. In his place is the man from the dark forest, his eyes cold and sharp as glass. Now, then, he says, his voice a low, dangerous growl. Shall we finish up our talk from yesterday? He lays his cards on the table, his words hitting Wu Gang like physical blows, about why the Bloodsword Sect's young Sect leader, one of the pillars of the unorthodox faction, is in the Murian martial school. He leans in, his threat absolute. If you can't provide a proper explanation, you'd better be prepared for the consequences. The air in the sound barrier is suffocating, heavy with the scent of fear and the sharp crackle of raw energy. Answer me. Woon's voice is a low, terrifying growl. Arcs of blue lightning dance around his hand, illuminating the panic on Xian Wu Gang's face. What is the rumored young Sect leader of the Bloodsword Sect doing as a disciple at Murian Martial School? Wu Gang is paralyzed. His mind races. What should I do? Should I run away? He trembles violently. Woon leans in, his eyes glowing with predatory intent. Surely you don't think you can escape, right? That choice doesn't exist for you. He demands to know, why are you here? Wu Gang's mind flashes back 5 years ago to the Bloodsword Sect. He is kneeling before his master, a terrifying figure cloaked in shadows. His master is furious. You broke the arm of an opponent who couldn't resist. Why didn't you cut it off completely? The master screams that he should have severed his tendons to make sure he never wielded a sword again. The flashback continues, a nightmare of cruelty. His master lectures him on the nature of their sect. It's a position meant to be feared by all who follow the unorthodox path. Then comes the horrifying command that broke Wu Gang's life. Kill your senior sister. Wu Gang is stunned. What did you just say? His master is cold, indifferent. She hasn't done anything wrong. Wu Gang protests, but his master cuts him off. That's what it means to walk the unorthodox path. Because of your petty compassion, the entire sect could be annihilated. The ultimatum is absolute. If you think it's unfair, then I'll order your senior sister to kill you as well. Trapped, Wu Gang is forced to choose between murder and death. Don't even think about running away. I will personally kill her, his master threatens. He paints a grim future where Wu Gang must one day kill him to inherit the sect. The only path before you is the one where you and your senior sister kill each other. Broken, Wu Gang submits. I'll obey you. I'll infiltrate the Murim Alliance as a spy and kill my senior sister. His true plan is revealed. For now, I just need to buy time. If I can get out of Master's sight, I might be able to escape. Desperate to flee, Wu Gang explodes into action with a roar. His blade clashes against Woon's. Woon is unimpressed. You've chosen to break through head-on? He mocks. He effortlessly blocks the attack, noting Wu Gang's lack of judgment, but praising his decisiveness. But that's a good decision. Show me more. Show me your true strength. Wu Gang is terrified. What do you intend to do with me? Woon's reply is enigmatic. You came here to train, didn't you? He taunts Wu Gang, telling him he can't show his true strength with the martial arts or the orthodox path. He goads him to unleash his real power for the upcoming duel with Muzhong Martial School. Prove your worth to me. Wu Gang realizes the terrifying gap in their abilities. This is on a completely different level. If I get careless for even a moment, I'll die. He attacks again, fully committed. Wu Gang attacks again, but Wu parries easily. That's better than using orthodox techniques half-heartedly, Wu comments, but you are never suited to the unorthodox path's martial arts. Your nature is incompatible with them. Wu Gang is confused and angry. What do you mean by that? Wu explains that to win on that path, one must be willing to cut down anything, using killing sword techniques, which simply don't suit Wu Gang. Wu Gang screams back. That's what it means to walk the unorthodox path. What do you even know about me? Wu counters, your sword wavers. It lacks fighting spirit. As they clash, Wu presses him. You try to hide it, but your sword speaks for you. He asks the boy, what is the truth you pursue? In a world where everyone either kills or is killed. Does that even matter? He drives Wu Gang back. Then why do you wield a sword? Wu Gang, stumbling back, finally breaks. I wield a sword because I have a reason to grow stronger. Wu Gang confesses, his voice raw. He speaks of his father, a man who wasn't a great martial artist, but he was a man of honor. His father died senselessly on a battlefield where others fled, but he stood his ground. Wu Gang admits his resentment, but knows he is powerless. If I act rashly, I'll die a meaningless death too. That's why I need to grow stronger. But in his obsession with strength, he lost his identity, becoming the young sect leader instead of his father's son. Wu asks if he regrets it. I don't know, Wu Gang whispers. I only wanted to protect my father's honor, to prove that he wasn't a coward, that he was a martial artist braver than anyone else. He wanted to carry on his father's name, but now, I think I've lost my way. Defeated, he drops his sword. Kill me or report me. Do as you wish. He pleads only for his fellow disciples, insisting they are innocent. I infiltrated this place alone. He collapses. Wu looks down at him, his expression softening. I see. You fight to protect, not to destroy. What? Wu Gang asks, confused. Pang. Wu flicks him on the forehead hard. F. That hurt. Get up, Wu orders. Looking at you reminds me of a boy I once knew, one blinded by vengeance and lost in the dark. Wu reveals a part of his own past. When I left the Bakley clan, I reworked my martial arts so as not to rely on the Bakley clan's techniques. He tore down his foundation while others built theirs. Allow me to help you with yours. Wu Gang is stunned. Are you saying that you'll teach me? Wu smirks. Losing one inexperienced kid won't hurt the Murim Alliance, but gaining the disciple of one of the 10 heavens is a huge win. This is good, he thinks. He makes his offer. For the next 15 days, I will tear apart every technique you know. You must forget yourself completely. The process will bring about immense pain. He smiles dangerously. Will you still follow me despite that? Wu Gang asks, if I do, will I become stronger than I am now? Wu's answer is absolute. Don't worry. That's my job. Meanwhile, in the heart of the Murim Alliance, strategists are discussing the Muzhong Martial School. Their disciples are exceptional, with squad captains competing to recruit them. But a new development has arisen. The leader of the Unorthodox Alliance has made a wager. He bets on the victory of Murian Martial School, the underdogs. If he loses, he will halt all expansion and aggression for 1 year. It's an offer the Alliance can't refuse. But they wonder why he would bet on the weaker side. To ensure their victory, the Alliance decides to raise the stakes. They appoint a new instructor for the upcoming exchange. A figure in white robes walks down a corridor. It is the top talent of the Wudong Sect, who graduated from Yujian Martial School 10 years ago, and the next strongest sword of Wudong. He is known as the Azure Flow. He pauses, a contemplative look on his face. Bakley Wu and Murian Martial School. It's been a long time since I've heard that name. In the training yard, the disciples are exhausted. I'm exhausted. 2 versus 5 sparring every day, Siwa groans, collapsing to the ground. The intensity of their preparation for the upcoming Murian Martial School tournament is taking its toll. Wu, their sect leader, is unimpressed. Already worn out? He asks casually. Siwa complains that the training is way too harsh. Wu, sensing their morale flagging, offers a carrot. Good. Then I'll give you a reward too. Siwa perks up here. Woon explains his plan. After the Murian training ends, they will visit the Murim Alliance to watch the grand tournament. But the real prize is personal. Near there is a blacksmith who once forged my sword. He makes a promise. If you win more than 8 out of 15 matches, I'll take you there to get your own personalized weapon crafted. Siwa shoots up, energized. Really? But what exactly is that? Woon clarifies. It means I'll have a weapon custom-made for you. Siwa beams, yay? I'll definitely make it happen. Just then, during sparring, one of the Murian disciples is shocked. Siwa, how did you already find a counter to the move I showed you just yesterday? Siwa effortlessly parries her strike. Actually, the move from 2 days ago was harder to counter. The disciple is stunned. On the other side, Munchiak notices that Wang Pao has always been a quick learner. But today you seem especially energetic. Wang Pao grins mischievously. We found some motivation of our own, you see. He glances meaningfully toward the corner of the yard, asking loudly, is the sect leader the type to treat only the people he likes kindly? Wang Pao, caught off guard, stammers. Pardon. Munchiak is referring to Xian Wu Gang, who is currently tied up in the corner. You foolish brat, Woon yells at him. Don't do anything such a hard order to follow. Wu Gang, bound by glowing ropes, protests. You expect me to just sit still and waste time doing nothing? That's totally absurd. Suddenly, the ropes tighten painfully, crushing him. Woon explains, that's a binding rope. If you move or try to use unorthodox techniques, it will constrict and crush your body. But Woon reveals the hidden lesson. Of course, there's a way to release it yourself. Escape using your inner energy, but without moving your body. Wang Pao, oblivious to the harsh training method, innocently asks, Sect leader, is it true you're giving Xian Wu Gang special treatment? Woon, flustered, denies it. What nonsense is that? He quickly redirects everyone's attention. Now then, continue your sparring. As the disciples resume their training, Woon gives them a final, cryptic instruction, and think carefully about why I told you to do nothing. As the sparring continues, Xian Wu Gang watches intently. He notices something strange. Just like in the previous matches, when I pull back to increase distance, she immediately closes the gap. Siwa is denying Xian Munchiak, the spear user, his effective range. Munchiak adapts instantly. If distance is the problem, then I'll use my body. He strikes with his shoulder and elbows. Wu Gang is amazed. Xian Munchiak, who relied only on spear techniques, is using striking skills. He realizes his peers are evolving rapidly. Could it be a mistake? No, look closely. Their progress is remarkable. The sect leader Woon. Watching them must make you want to jump in and fight too, doesn't it? You fear falling behind them, don't you? A notification appears. Temporary disciple Xian Munchiak has entered the state of body spear unity. Munchiak moves fluidly, his body becoming an extension of his weapon. If I could move as one with a spear. Seeing his friend's breakthrough, Wu Gang begs Woon, please release me from this rope. I can't just stay here doing nothing. Woon is firm. I said don't move. If you swing your sword now, you would never reach that state. He explains the hard truth. Xian Munchiak has been building his own martial path. But you're merely imitating the sword art of the Blood Sword Sect's great disaster sword. Wu Gang is frustrated. Then what do you expect me to do? Woon reveals the core problem. With the martial arts you've learned so far, your body has already been trained into fixed habits. You can't tear those habits out easily. That is why he is tied up. If I can't fix my body's habits through movement, what I must fix is my inner energy's habit. Wu Gang realizes my meridian. Woon confirms, correct. You need to go further. You must tear down your inner energy itself. He explains that while a person has 365 meridians, most martial artists use no more than 70. Wu Gang's task is to find a new path among the unused ones. So I need to open a new meridian and pour my energy through it. He begins to force his energy, gather all my inner energy at once and force it through, resisting the blockage. The system warns, temporary disciple Xian Wu Gang's inner energy has become turbulent and has begun to backflow. Woon shouts a warning. Don't get ahead of yourself. If that tainted energy devours you from within, it will destroy your energy core. Wu Gang groans in pain. What kind of training is that? He coughs up blood. His friends cry out, Xian Wu Gang, but Woon stops them. Don't come closer. This is something he must overcome alone. Wu Gang grits his teeth. I can't give up here. I won't go back to that dreadful past. He focuses, empty out the old meridians, purify the tainted energy, and push it out. A breakthrough occurs. The system chimes. Temporary disciple Cian Wu Gang has begun the microcosmic orbit. He exhales deeply, his body relaxing as the impurities are expelled. Cough, cough. Woon asks gently, "Are you all right, Cian Wu Gang?" Wu Gang slumps forward, exhausted but free. So, in the end, you've emptied out the blood sword Sect's martial arts. Congratulations on becoming a blank slate. Wu Gang realizes the gravity of his situation. All I've done is erase everything, haven't I? He looks at Woon with desperate hope. Then, you'll train me too, won't you? I can't afford to fall behind. Woon smiles. Good. Then fill that blank slate with a sword path that belongs to you alone. Wu Gang breathes a heavy sigh of relief. Far away, in a dark forest, a gruesome scene unfolds. A body hangs upside down, drained of blood. He was drained dry, observes Namgung Wu. Chung Ha, the Wudong disciple, snaps, "Shut up, Namgung Wu." He examines the corpse. Judging by the marks on his neck, he's definitely the one we were tracking. They are hunting a killer, but the clues are baffling. Still no common traits among the victims. It seems anything human is enough for the culprit. The methodology is sloppy but intelligent. It's too sloppy to be the work of unorthodox sections, but the most likely culprit is a demon, specifically a lesser demon with intelligence, leaving no traces but the bodies. Namgung Wu asks, "Should we pull back and request for backup?" Chung Ha refuses. "No, we can't let more victims appear. If Captain were here, that's what she'd say." They resolve to continue the tracking. Namgung Wu smirked. Orders are orders. Though, people usually die when taking on missions like this. He holds up a talisman, suggesting they buy some insurance, just in case. The talisman is a message. If gone for more than a month, please contact the Righteous Heaven Sect leader. As they move out, Woon frowns. "I've got a bad feeling somehow." Woon, standing tall and composed, addresses his exhausted students. "You all worked hard," he begins, his voice carrying a rare note of genuine approval. "Well, there's still a fool or two who can't get things right, but you will definitely feel that your skills have improved." He turns his attention to Siawa and Wang Pao, the standouts of the group. Siawa and Wang Pao managed to secure 8 victories, he announces, honoring his earlier wager. "So as promised, we will go make the named weapon." "You should be proud of yourselves," Woon continues, but his tone shifts, darkening as he pivots to the next phase. "At this rate, I expect you to handle the second training well." The air grows heavy with anticipation. Now, the second training is... He pauses for dramatic effect, his words hanging like a guillotine blade. "To kill each other." The shock hits them instantly, but before the panic can fully set in, the scene shifts miles away to the Murim Alliance 2nd Strategy Corps. A grim briefing is underway. Missing persons cases have spiked. An official reports, his voice tight with tension. The details are horrific. Victims found with carotid arteries slit and totally bled out. This isn't simple banditry. It reeks of a serial killer or a demon. To combat this growing darkness, the Alliance has deployed their heavy hitters, Namgung Wu and the Taoist Chung Ha to Hunan, and the ferocious Tiger Squad to Hubei. The strategists find comfort in this, believing the pairing of Chung Ha's strength and Namgung Wu's improvisation is unbeatable. That's a relief. One sighs, unaware that the storm is heading straight for Woon's doorstep. Back at the Sect, the kill-each-other command has dissolved into chaotic sparring. "Quack!" cries a disciple as he is sent flying across the dirt. Woon watches the melee, barking orders. "What do you think you're running off to?" he shouts at a fleeing student. Amidst the dust and shouting, Dan Rion deftly dodges an attack that nearly bowls over a visiting merchant. "Can't believe you dodged without concern for me," the merchant thinks sarcastically. Woon storms over, furious at the lack of discipline. "You assholes! Why are you acting like that in front of guest?" The guest, however, brings news that silences the brawling students. "Do you even know who's teaching at the Muzhong Martial School now?" he asks. Chung Ryu, the Taiji warrior, has gotten involved. A collective gasp runs through the group. Chung Ryu is a legend, the strongest of the rising generation, a genius whose involvement changes everything. The disciples whisper in awe. intimidated by the mere name. But Woon remains utterly unmoved. "Don't worry," he says calmly. He then drops a revelation that shatters their worldview. "During my 4 years at the Murian Martial School, not once did I ever lose to him." The silence is deafening. "Not even once," a disciple stammers. Woon clarifies his past identity. "It was when I was called the White Sword Dragon." The realization hits the students like a physical blow. Their leader is the former Heavenly Squad leader, a living legend. Doubt vanishes, replaced by fanatical devotion. "From now on, I will follow you without a doubt. Righteous Heaven's Sect leader," one shouts, his voice cracking with emotion. Woon waves it off, his gaze steady. "It's all in the past. Now, I'm simply the Righteous Heaven's Sect's leader." With his authority absolute, Woon gathers the disciples again. "You follow my teachings far better than I expected," he admits. The students brace themselves for more torture, but Woon surprises them. "Don't you think it's high time you get some rest?" Confused, they protest, "No, we can still do more." "Shut up and listen, you brats," Woon snaps. He explains that while their recovery has been boosted by his sex system, mental fatigue is just as important as physical. He decrees a rest day, instructing them to visit Yiyang's Dongting Lake, a place of beauty meant to soothe their warrior spirits. The tension breaks, replaced by cheers of woohoo. But Woon adds a final, chilling caveat. "If you cause trouble outside, you'll be crawling back to the Murim Alliance on all fours." The disciples gulp. "We'll remember that." Later, the group arrives at the bustling lakeside. "We've arrived at Dongting Lake," they shout, the fresh air and vibrant scenery a welcome change from the dusty training grounds. They head straight for the famous Falling Flower House restaurant, eager to celebrate. But their excitement hits a wall. "I apologize, but there are no seats available," the host says politely but firmly. The lower floors are packed, and the third floor is reserved for the greatest martial artists and prohibitively expensive. Dejected, the disciples prepare to leave until a mysterious voice cuts in. "How about I cover the costs?" The benefactor is a striking woman with piercing blue eyes. "Under one condition," she says, her gaze intense. "Tell me about Bakley Woon." This is G.A. Wool, the blue-eyes disciple from the Yellow Dragon Hall. She has been hunting for Woon ever since the Sect's opening ceremony, where his impulsive but powerful presence left a strong impression. She explains her frustration to the bewildered disciples. "I wanted to meet him on equal footing," she says, detailing her plan to open a shop nearby to catch his attention. She had expected him to reach out, given her connection to the Yellow Dragon Hall master, but he never did. "You never heard from him?" she exclaims, incredulous. The disciples awkwardly defend their master. "He's usually extremely busy. He probably didn't mean to forget about you." They mention the immense pressure he is under due to the wager with the Unorthodox Alliance. G.A. Wool pauses, realizing they are in the dark. "Judging by your reactions, I'm guessing you didn't know," she says softly. She reveals the secret high-stakes game being played above their heads. Both the Murim Alliance and the Unorthodox Alliance agreed to put a stop on the conflict pending the tournament. The leaders have placed a bet to see who has a better eye for people. G.A. Wool drops the hammer. The Unorthodox Alliance bet on the Murian Martial School, while the Murim Alliance bet on the Mujong Martial School. The disciples are stunned. A bet on the sparring tournament? The terms are staggering. If the Unorthodox Alliance loses, they will halt all expansion for 1 year. But if they win, the Murim Alliance owes them a favor. G.A. Wool looks at them with pity. Right now, the entire Murim Alliance hopes you will lose. They are merely pawns in a game of giants. The disciples are crushed. Does this mean the Murim Alliance thinks we're useless? One whispers, their pride shattering. They feel betrayed, their hard work reduced to a political gambling chip. "I thought we were finally at a level to compete properly." Anger erupts among the group. "How can we accept this?" one shouts. "Let's demand an explanation." But Xian Wu Gang, the undercover unorthodox disciple, speaks up with cold pragmatism. "Think for the sake of your sect," he advises. "Even if you lose the competition, your honor won't vanish. In fact, the alliance will compensate you." His willingness to accept defeat enrages Shimin Chiak. "Do you honestly believe that?" he demands. "That because you have nothing to lose, you can just win your fight and be fine, while those with something to lose need to step back and play it safe?" In the sect, Bakley Woon and Yuri Young. He acknowledges the situation but refuses to bow to it. We don't always have to bend to the politics of adults, he declares, his voice cutting through their despair. He claims them as his own. Now that they've come to me, they're my people. He is ready for a direct confrontation with the Murim Alliance to protect them. Yuri Young, watching him take charge, asks, "What did you find out?" But before one can answer, panic erupts outside. Righteous Heaven's sect leader. There's trouble. A messenger screams. Martial artists from both the Murim Alliance and the Unorthodox Alliance are gathering. One assumes it's war, but the truth is far worse. That's not it. Demons have appeared. A massive horde, a procession of 100 demons, is descending upon Dongting Lake. The serene night is shattered by guttural growl emanating from the nearby woods. The 100 demons are not mindless beasts. They're a cohesive, hungry force. Shadows lengthen and twist as monstrous shapes emerge from the tree line. Kill humans. A voice hisses from the darkness, a sound like grinding bones. Eat them. The demon's hunger is insatiable, a collective chant rising into the night air. More. The ominous atmosphere around Dongting Lake thickens as a mysterious figure delivers a chilling lecture on the nature of demons. A demonic terrain, he explains, is the warped reality that forms around a demon when it evolves into a greater demon. He warns that as long as one stays outside this zone, they are safe. The problem is, he continues, his voice grave, that newborn greater demons attract other demons around them, and the place they all head to is wherever humans live. This horrifying migration is known as a night parade of 100 demons. And right now, that parade is marching straight for Dongting Lake. The origin point is identified as Baishang, with an estimated 250 demons confirming the presence of a greater demon. But the situation is even direr. A month ago, the speaker reveals, the elite search team of Taoist Chung Ha and Nam Gungwu went missing while investigating this very threat. They left a desperate marker at the entrance of the demonic terrain. If they didn't return within a month, we should notify the Righteous Heaven's sect leader. Bakley Woon, hearing this, makes an instant decision. I'll go to Baishang. His companion questions him. You won't join a muster in Yiyang? Woon dismisses the idea. No need, he says, confident that the nearby major sects will gather to handle the defense. When asked about the Murian martial school disciples at the lake, Woon is unconcerned. They have no obligation to heed that summons. The Murim Alliance's Yiyang branch head will send them back safely. His priority is clear, killing the greater demon before it absorbs all the demonic energy. Meanwhile, in Woon's past, deep within the corrupted forest, a sinister voice whispers in the dark. You've been given quite an entertaining fate. Child, you truly are. Sweet. If the night parade happens, this entire region will become hell. Back at Dongting Lake, panic is setting in among the Murian disciples. They're confused and frightened, debating their next move. Let's ask the Righteous Heaven sect leader. One suggests, wanting to know if the rumors are true, that the Murim Alliance is using us as expendable pawns. They look to their new mentor for guidance, wondering, what does the sect leader think of this situation? Suddenly, the doors to their meeting place slam open. Kwong. A stern man strides in. Good, you're all gathered here. The disciples ask, who are you? He introduces himself as Guang Yun, the Yiyang branch head of the Murim Alliance. He delivers the grim news. A night parade of 100 demons is heading this way as we speak. He orders them to evacuate. This place will soon become a battlefield. Return to the training grounds immediately. The disciples, their pride stung, protest. Are you telling us to run away from the battlefield? Guang Yun is firm. It's called withdrawing, not fleeing. This is an order. When they insist they can fight too, he shuts them down brutally. There are only a few major sects in this region. They don't need fledglings like you. He refuses to justify himself further. As the branch head leaves, the disciples are left seething but obedient. No, but Xian Wugang senses something is wrong. Something's wrong. What he said isn't incorrect, but he seems overly urgent. He deduces the terrifying truth behind the order. The branch head already knows the defensive line will collapse. The disciples argue. Some want to follow orders, believing the major sects will handle it. But Wu Gang counters, what if the major sects can't arrive in time? He realizes they're being sent away, not just for safety, but because the Alliance expects a massacre. Shimin Chiak argues for obedience, but another disciple snaps. What's wrong with you today? Then, a voice cuts through the noise. If we run now, everyone here dies. It is Xian Wu Gang. He reminds them of their new identity. Didn't the sect leader say that as long as we stay here, we're temporarily part of the Righteous Heavens sect? If you belong to the Righteous Heavens sect, would you abandon people and flee? He appeals to their honor as pillars of the orthodox way. We do not run away from such a situation. His words ignite a fire in them. Yeah, now you're talking. They immediately begin strategizing. Dan Rian will scout, while Woon Jin and Oh Rang check the formations. Wu Gang will find an interception point. They declare, from this moment on, we will hunt the night parade of 100 demons. As they rush off, they leave one person behind, Jie Wool, the disciple from the Yellow Dragon Hall. I see. You've all forgotten about me, she sighs, feeling a bit left out. Bakley Woon arrives at the edge of the corrupted forest. He recalls his days as the Heavenly Squad Captain, where the first lesson was knowing how to survive and retreat. He worries for his missing friends, Namgung Wu and Chung Ha, knowing they must be running out of food and water by now. As he steps deeper into the gloom, the air grows heavy. Is it here? The corruption has progressed heavily. This is bad. He knows he must wrap this up quickly. Suddenly, a low growl echoes from the shadows. Inside the demonic terrain, a monstrous voice speaks. An intruder? No, it's not them. The greater demon is frustrated. They gave me hell just because I ate a few humans. It reveals that their interference inadvertently caused it to awaken as a greater demon. But despite its power, the two human martial artists slipped away, even inside my own territory. Now it senses new prey. Show yourselves, it roars. From their hiding spot, Namgung Wu and Chung Ha bicker. It's enjoying this. Namgung Wu mutters. Chung Ha admits, I hate to admit it, but you were right. We should have ended this before it awakened. Namgung Wu snaps back, blaming Chung Ha for showing off instead of finishing the job. Chung Ha retorts that he still has enough strength left to kill you. Their argument is cut short as the demon finds them. You were looking for us, you pest? Chung Ha shouts, launching a surprise attack. The demon is hit, but counters with a massive blow. Kwong, good going. That was a clean hit. He yells sarcastically to his partner. You okay? Namgung asks. You idiot. Look in front of you, Chung Ha warns. The demon is already on them again. Kook, Namgung Wu, Chung Ha cries out as they are pushed to the brink. Just as the demon prepares to deliver the killing blow, a new voice cuts through the chaos. Thanks for saving me the trouble of searching for you. Bakley Woon steps into the clearing, calm and imposing. Captain, Namgung Wu cries in relief. Call me the Righteous Heavens sect leader, you brat. Woon corrects her. Namgung Wu scolds him. Took you long enough. Why are you only here now? Woon offers a weak excuse. I was busy. Woon sighs. Besides, I didn't expect I'd still need to clean up after you children. He turns his attention to the greater demon. This is strange, he notes. Even if it's a greater demon, you two should still be able to handle it. He realizes something is off. You slow-witted fool, the demon sneers. Woon draws his sword. Let me help you a little. But before he can strike, a terrifying realization dawns on him. The demon's aura feels familiar, calm. It has been a long time, child. Truly, a long time. Woon freezes, his eyes wide with shock and horror. He recognizes this presence. Why? Are you here? He stammers, his voice barely a whisper. Black Knight. Scene ends with Woon face-to-face with a monstrous entity known as Black Knight.